What the hell is going on? Good morning from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Robert Walsh. The Bengals and the Titans aren't required to put out an official injury report until later today, so no official practice designation just yet. But we do know who is practicing. Bud Dupree and Amani Hooker both practice after missing the Packers game. Randy Bullock, who suffered a right calf injury in warm-ups prior to the Broncos game, did not practice, leading the Titans to designate Caleb Shudak for return from the team's PUP list, opening his 20-day window to be activated. For the did not practice, Ben Jones still nursing that concussion. Danico Autry and Christian Fulton did not practice. In the NBA, the Grizzlies fell 113-109 to the Sacramento Kings. John Crew gave it their all, but couldn't overcome a stifling 17-point third quarter. Ja went 12 for 21 for 34 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. And in the NHL, Preds take on the Red Wings tonight at 6 p.m. from Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. The Red Wings are 9-5-4 and currently on a 2-game win streak. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wednesday edition of the show. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. On a Wednesday that feels like a Friday. On Thanksgiving Eve in Music City, USA. With 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster. Yeah. A well-deserved day off for Kayla Anderson and Jonathan Schaefer, meaning the second best producer in the world, Robert Walsh, is making the show happen this morning. My name is Will Bowling. 615-737-1045 is the phone number. Happy Thanksgiving Eve, gentlemen.
Apparently, and I had to find this out whenever I went to pick because we were just too busy doing stuff in college. But apparently, the night before Thanksgiving is the biggest party night for all college students.
That is correct.
In their hometowns.
That is correct.
Okay. Did not realize
Can
that.
confirm.
Can confirm?
Can confirm.
If there is a child visiting mom and dad this weekend, they're probably not going to be home tonight is what we're saying.
That is right.
Okay. All right. Got it down pat.
But there is a game plan to this.
There is a game plan to this.
Like if you're a kid who wants to, you're home for whatever holiday it is, but you would also like to go out and do ratchet things with your friends. there's a game plan. So you got to knock out all that family time very early in the day. Very early in the day. So go see Graham, go see Mimi, Poppy, whatever you call those people. And then about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you start planting those seeds. Like, hey, Michael's in town. Wow. And you just start saying things loud enough for your parents to hear them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Michael wants to go get a beer. I'm too tired. I can't do that.
You get to the point where your relatives will be like, oh, why don't you go see him? You haven't seen them in so long. You know what? I think we will.
I think we might do that. That's a great idea, Graham.
I think we might go do something once everybody else is asleep. That's where you get. That's where it gets. That's where it happens.
So what happens whenever it comes down to like setting alarms and everything in the house? You know what I'm saying? Like, Mom, don't set the alarm tonight. Dad, don't set the alarm tonight.
Or just like, hey, spare key still in the same spot.
There you
okay,
go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was too broke. My family didn't have we had a dog. That was our alarm system.
No, honestly, same.
Oh, that's hilarious. So the next question is okay. How long are you out? Are you 2:30 in the morning?
Oh, you're pushing it.
You're pushing it because
it's a Waffle House night.
Because I'm grown.
It is a Waffle House night.
This is what you tell. Because I'm grown. Is that what you tell mom and dad?
My mom would hit me with it's still my house.
Well,
you are still my son.
The classic response to that is, for most people, is just like, oh, like what time did you get back last night? It's like, oh, I don't even remember. Like we had such a good time.
Yeah, do not let them know. Do not let them know.
Classic. You know me, just crazy, just going out all the time.
I'll be
Not
real.
at all.
As a dad that's like got a 14-year-old right now that's closer to college than he is kindergarten, I'm actually looking forward to that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like going away
time.
from school. Like I'd be okay if my kid did go to Vandy. Either one of them. Like okay, for baseball. Wow. Okay, for
You're
baseball.
feeling really thankful.
For baseball.
Ramon lets his guard down because Jonathan Schaefer isn't here to record everything that he's saying out of context and then hit him with it.
But I'm just saying in the sense of like education and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I'd rather them go away. Okay, if you're going to an educational institution that's high up the ladder as far as that goes, okay, go to Duke, go to Wake Forest, heck, go to Stanford for all I care. No, do not record this. What I'm saying is this, okay? If they come back home during the holiday season, proud dad moment of like sitting on the couch, sipping a cup of tea and coffee, watching the game, and like, look at my kid in college. I don't know what he's doing. He's not home. But I'm proud of him, and he came back in one piece.
I was gonna say, you say that now, but you're gonna be like, so what were you up to last night?
No, I kind of let go a little bit, man.
And can I come next time?
Yeah. No. See, that's the problem. You can't be 40-year-old in the club like that. Well, I guess you can. 40's the new 30.
Is it really?
I love to hear that because I am 1 year away from 30.
I'm going to be real. 30s, I thought I was going to feel old. Like, my God, life's ending. Like, I still feel like, all right, let's go. What are we doing? Like, I'm probably still going to go to bed at about like 10:30.
Sure.
But the idea of you get old in your 30s, Bert, listen to me. Nah. Literally nothing. I probably had a just as good time in my 30s. I'm definitely having just as good time in my 30s as I did in my 20s. More responsibility if you get kids and
I'll
stuff.
let you know when I get there.
30s are nothing.
Yeah.
I used to think it was so old. Mom, you're what? You're 35.
Disrespectful.
Blew right past 35. Yeah, it's disrespectful.
That's right. 615-737-1045 is the number this morning if you want to jump in. Brad Crawford of 247 Sports joins us at 7:20 today talking college football and another just post-mortem for the Vols, essentially, for a guy based out of South Carolina and Brad Crawford who will certainly update us on where Tennessee stands in terms of its pursuit of a New Year's Six bowl game after coming in at number 10 in the college football playoff rankings last night. So we do that coming up at 7:20 this morning. Rhett Bryan, a normal scout meeting Wednesday for us, coming up at 9 a.m. 8:20, we go through what Ramon Foster sees on film from the Cincinnati Bengals.
I hate them. That's what I see.
That's fair.
Okay.
Another AFC North rival. We've got two AFC North guys hanging out today.
Hey, we're friends
Robert
today.
Walsh, a Ratbird fan.
Yeah.
And you, of course, playing 11 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we trade one AFC North loyal producer for another one.
What's interesting is like, what is like now maybe I'm asking for too much right here. What's a Steeler like pun name or just a joke name? Like you call the Ravens Ratbirds. You know what I'm saying? Like I call the Bengals Bungles. What's the Steelers? Probably can't say it on radio probably.
I mean, I think I just jokingly say Stillers because that's what y'all call it up there.
Yeah.
It's the
Instead of
Squealers.
Steelers.
It's Squealers.
Oh, there you go.
See?
There it is. Perfect.
I knew we had one.
Wait, so you can barely say that on the radio.
You barely say it. Although I say some stuff on the radio at times.
Yeah, you do occasionally say some things that raise some eyebrows. It's fine.
It's all good. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
What we're not going to do today is the typical sports talk radio shticks on the day before Thanksgiving because that's not what we do here.
No, it's not.
Because Robert Walsh might just turn off my mic if I start, just ranting about one side dish or something, which I don't think I'm going to do. But we're not mailing it in. We're still going to continue with the normal conversations we would have on a Wednesday. And it kind of feels like a mix between a Wednesday show and a Friday show.
It does, man. I'm looking forward to this holiday season, by the way, too. I'll just throw that out as we're not going to do that type of show. We'll do some things about that type of show and be ratchet and everything else. But we still, Vrabel talked yesterday. CFP came out last night. This is still a big game. They're super playing. They're down, like to the effect of downplaying to the 100th degree, Will. The Titans act like they just don't realize the Bengals are coming into town this week.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing is the lack of a revenge game conversation from the locker room yesterday.
Yeah.
Because, and we'll get into this coming up in a minute, but because I believe some players when they say that, and then there's other players in the locker room like Kevin Byard and Ryan Tannehill and David Long who talked about it, who I don't believe. Like, I think it's absolutely a conversation in that locker room that this is a revenge game against Cincinnati.
I don't even believe Vrabel at this point.
No.
I don't. Like, the fact that everybody to a T hammered it down about this isn't last year's team. Over half of the team is gone and changed. I'm like, okay, tell me you've been waiting on this week like none other. Like,
right.
We're not that dumb.
Right.
It's okay to say, look, we want to smash their face in after they have some turkey. It's all right to say that, Will. So, yeah, that's a conversation that has to be had because there's a guy playing in this game. When I get to the scout meeting, I got to bring up something he said to let you know why.
Okay.
This game matters and why whenever you get the opportunity to get somebody, you get them, okay? It's super interesting. The Cincy player had something, man, so.
615-737-1045 is the number this morning on the Thanksgiving Eve episode of the show. And we begin this morning with Jason in Nashville with a question for Ramon. Good morning, Jason. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Hey, first, the comment. You know, I was in remission of VBS, but after this last game, I'm afraid it's come back on me. But my question to Ramon about the Michigan game, you know, when they change players, they have to give the defense time to get their players on the
Substitute.
field.
Yes, personnel got to match up. Yep.
So when they rushed onto the field to do the field goal at the very end of the game, could Illinois not have taken their time and run the timeout, or how does that work? And I'll hang up and listen. Love y'all's show, guys.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate the call.
That's fair. God, that's
I think you're talking about TCU.
TCU.
TCU's the one that ran the field goal team on immediately.
Did Michigan? How did Michigan's end also? Was it field goal also? I think
it was a field goal, but they had a stoppage to do so.
They had a stoppage. So TCU's situation, yeah.
I mean, I don't think that applies when you're changing to special teams, I would imagine.
Because
I actually don't know the official rule.
Golly, that's some slick stuff right there.
Yeah.
For you to, Jason, God, dog. So if you're exchanging, I don't think they hold the clock. They hold the ball because the clock is continually running. We've seen teams after exchanging players or changing personnel, they'll have to take a timeout because only the ref will hold the hand over the ball.
Right.
The clocks continue to move.
Right.
Is that a move that could have been moved? Baylor could have used on TCU.
I don't think so. I think if you're changing to a kick team, I would imagine special teams has a different set of rules for that. But I don't know. But this would be more talked about if so.
You're right, because
that was one of the biggest games of the week.
That could have been a loophole used, maybe.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Oh no, I have to look that one up right there, Jason. That was a daggone good question, man.
Okay, so I kind of looked up the rules. I could be off on here, but there is an illegal delay of gameplay. So you would have to be very sneaky on defense. If a defensive player is slow to unpile or retrieve themselves from the ground in a deliberate manner, the team can be awarded the illegal delay of game. So in a situation like that, I wonder if it was like, oh, he's behind the line of scrimmage, but they're like set to kick the field goal. I wonder if they would give them the 5 and then an untimed down.
Yeah, right.
Probably would have been an untimed down.
Right.
Just enough to get the snap off.
Well, because what Music City Bowl, Tennessee and North Carolina was the exact same way.
Yeah.
That was in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Wow.
January 11 or December of 2010. It was the 2010 season.
That really makes a whole lot of sense right there. But you're right. That flag would have probably come out in those situations.
Right. 615-737-1045 is the number this morning if you want to jump in. And coming up, we go inside the Titans locker room to hear from Ryan Tannehill, who says this is not a revenge game. But honestly, I don't believe him. And I don't believe a lot of the players who say that this is just another game for the Titans coming up against Cincinnati on Sunday. We'll give you the practice report as well, unofficially from the Titans, according to the media who were at St. Thomas Sports Park yesterday. Brad Crawford at 247 at 720. Rhett Bryan in the final hour for Scout Meeting Wednesday. Off and running on Thanksgiving Eve. Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of the time we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. We are afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed now, or it could be a small problem that will become bigger later, or maybe nothing at all. In these moments, you want a peace of mind, and that's when you need United Structural Systems. With USS, you get problem solvers, experts to educate you and help you understand what's happening with your home. USS will provide an honest diagnosis and stand by their work and warranties. And USS is based right here in Middle Tennessee and is a member of our community. So when it comes to something as important as your home, USS is the company that cares and the company you can trust. USS serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. Find them online at USSTN.com or call them at 615-227-2275. We guarantee our best. Call USS.
Wednesday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Day off for Kayla Anderson and Jonathan Schaefer. So along Ramon, with Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Robert Walsh making the show happen this morning. At Ramon, Kayla, Will on Twitter is where you can jump in on the conversation. That's where you can follow the show. And on Twitter this morning, both Kayla Anderson chiming in, saying good morning from her account as she travels to West Coast, Best Coast.
West Coast, Best Coast,
for
baby.
Thanksgiving. And then Jonathan Schaefer is also traveling this morning and retweets the show from his personal Twitter account. Now, if you follow our account on Twitter, our show, you know that that's basically just Jonathan Schaefer. That is basically his personal account. So, Ramon, I get a notification this morning
about
that says
what?
Jonathan Schaefer followed you on Twitter. His personal account.
He should have been following you.
After all these years. I've worked here since June 1st, 2019. Jonathan Schaefer has finally decided to grace Will_Bowling, my personal Twitter account, with a follow from him.
He followed
all
me
these years later.
before he followed you?
That's right.
That's crazy.
And he texted me.
Shape's far too slow.
So I texted him and said, appreciate the follow on Twitter after all these years. And he sent back, of course, the serious response of like, I had no idea. Like, to be fair, I only use that account once a month. And he said, well, also, you only became important about 2 months ago.
We're really not trying to hear that.
I always feel so bad when people follow me on Twitter because I'm like, I never tweet. Like, they probably hear me on the station and like, man, I bet this guy is a great Twitter follow. And then I'm just favoriting pictures of puppies and that's it. Like, that's all you get from me. Like, I'm so sorry that I'm not a better Twitter follow, but you just got to listen to the Zone, I guess.
To be fair now to Schaefer, like since I started hosting this show and since I started just doing more stuff in general, like my days of just like interacting with people are gone. Like I literally because when I get home, like I just go to sleep. Yeah. Like I work out, then I play Xbox and go to sleep.
You sound like a baby.
Like I don't really like scroll Twitter that much, just like talking to people. Like I'm just like, no, goodbye.
I actually had one of my highest screen times last week.
Really?
Yeah. What was last week while I was scrolling so much, man? I was high. I went up like 10% last week. I was like, okay, I got to bring this back.
Right.
No, I went up 30%. I'm like, I got to bring this back. This is not okay. And I'm like, I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want to. That's the other side of this thing.
It depends on the day if you're really an adult.
Yeah, well, see, that's the point too. You know what I'm saying? But that's trash. The fact that Shafe didn't follow you before he followed me.
Yeah, we're coworkers.
Yeah,
different standards.
He legitimately knew you before he knew me.
That's right.
You worked here before I did. Will.
That's right.
And then he's just now following you.
Yep.
That's cold-blooded,
6:13 a.m. on Wednesday, November the 23rd.
We can trash him because he's not in today.
That's right.
Shafe, that's such that's terrible. Who don't follow their coworkers that they work with every single day?
Well, I mean, I didn't follow Buck until I had to, so I'm just kidding. 615-737-104. I do follow Buck. Against my better judgment, I do.
I need y'all to have a celebrity boxing match at this point.
A celebrity? I'm not a celebrity.
Stop minimizing, Will.
Yeah, okay. We just need to have an exhibition match then. Don't even put celebrities.
Save that. 625. Will said I'm not a celebrity.
F-list celebrities. We're F-list celebrities in Nashville.
We are, but still,
you know how many influencers live here that aren't celebrities who like are celebrities in Nashville to be ahead of us on that list?
I got dude, we're talking about fighting, okay? We're talking about a boxing match, okay?
Wait, whoa. At Kayla Anderson TV. Good morning, Kayla.
Good morning,
watching
Kayla.
The show on Twitter this morning, tweets at me and says at Will_Bowling, Schaefer still doesn't follow me, is what Kayla said.
Shafe don't follow Kayla? What is this animal?
So I guess you are the one who knocks on this show because Jonathan Schaefer's followed you for all this time.
I knew he was a scumbag.
As if you needed more evidence.
I can say things now. Shafe's not in.
You can't cut your mic off.
Well, he can't cut our mic off, and he can't record us saying things out of context. Then he'll play later on. Happens all the time.
I feel like he's got y'all locked in a basement. It's like I don't want to say anything. He's gonna play it back to my family. Like
we're like Harry Potter right now.
I solemnly swear I'm up to no good.
That's what
fantastic.
we got going on, man. Jeez.
615-737-1045 this morning if you want to jump in. So
Cold as ice.
Ryan Tannehill and the Titans meet with the media yesterday, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Moan, because basically everyone in that locker room, whether it was Kayla, whether it was whoever was in that locker room talking to players in the open locker room yesterday, tried to get somebody to say this was a revenge game. And nobody was really successful. Do you believe these players when they say that this is not a revenge game against the Cincinnati Bengals?
Do I believe him?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Not even close, Will. Like, this is I was gonna save a quote from a Cincinnati Bengals fan, player, Jermaine Pratt.
Okay.
Is his name. And he was asked this week, about Pittsburgh's offense and everything that surrounded it as far as what happened and whatnot. Now, mind you, also, the Steelers beat the Bengals in week 1.
There it is.
So there's a little bit of get back, right? And he said this week when it comes down to players remembering, players wanting get back, players winning, right? Or teams winning against the team that beat them previously. He said, we knew what they were going to do. He said, they do the same thing over and over again as far as their offense goes. We just were waiting to pounce on them. I'm just like, you say that because you won. You didn't say those things in week 1 whenever they beat you.
Sure.
This is a game to me in which the players from the Titans can't do this. They're not allowed to after the fact, okay? As far as saying this is a revenge game or it's good to beat them. Behind closed locker room doors, it's talked about. The players probably speak about it amongst themselves. I know we did at times. If you got us the first time around, hey, y'all remember what they did last year, right? Or is it one of those, look, they're coming into our house and we got to go deliver it to them this weekend. They embarrassed us last time. If I was giving a pregame speech this week, Will, that would be my first thing. Fellas, they embarrass us on our home turf. Yes, this is a little bit of a get-back game. They can deny it all they want to, but the fan side of us, Will, we can acknowledge this. If you're in Nissan Stadium this Sunday for this game, what was the kickoff last time? Was it 3 o'clock this in the playoff game or 1?
It was like 6.
It was like 6?
Night game, yeah.
It was that's right.
Yeah.
No,
you're right. It was like 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Okay.
Yeah.
With that being said, if you're in Nissan this Sunday against this team, you got to make this chaotic as ever for a team like Cincinnati, simply because most of you were probably there to witness what happened. So on that side of there's get back from the fans' perspective. From a player side, Will, I'm going to respect them. I'm going to study film. I'm going to make sure I'm watching every little thing that they did. If there's a player that I played against last season that's there right now, I'm going to watch what he did against me.
Sure.
I'm going to watch what the coaches schemed up against me because I think Vrabel's right. Players on both sides, that offensive line, they switch it up. Quentin Spain's not there right now. Jeff don't have to worry about him. But there is an understanding that team represents a team that got you the way they did at home. This was embarrassing. You remember how long we've talked about this game throughout the offseason?
And regardless of what happens Sunday, we're going to continue talking about it because until the Titans overcome that result in the playoffs, specifically at home, that becomes just what this team has done the last 2 seasons. I mean, it is forever the cloud that's going to hang over them about last year. It's something we're going to look back on for years.
Yeah, 100%. So you got to approach this game. I would. Do you say approach it with caution, or you approach it with that look in your eye, Will? It's the same way I go about it. Simply because if for anything, there's one guy in particular when you just spoke about, Tannehill.
Right. And Ryan Tannehill did speak with the media yesterday, and when asked about the revenge game vibes in this kind of context on Sunday, this is what he had to say.
Yeah, no doubt. Just like I said after Thursday night, that was last year. Half this team, wasn't even here. So this is a new team facing another new team. Obviously, a game we want to win, but it has nothing to do with last year.
So that's Ryan Tannehill yesterday. I do believe Mike Vrabel when he says that this is not a revenge game because Mike Vrabel has these guys so programmed
Yeah,
into every single week. It's, taking this thing in stride and piecing it together every given Sunday and Thursday or Monday or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Week in and week out. But I think in that locker room, it's probably a little bit of a different conversation.
It is. And to his credit, Mike Vrabel has to say that.
Of course.
And he has to also lead with an iron fist when it comes down to what his guys are putting off in the media. I saw Kayla yesterday tweet out about, Jeff's probably going to give us the same bland answers every single week, and still here we are. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't exactly that, but it was essentially saying the same thing. Jeff's not going to say anything. Nobody on this team's going to. Vrabel has to hammer this down because guys will take the smallest little sentence that you have and use it against you for motivation. Whether that contributes to you winning or losing, nobody will ever know. It's just a part of the story.
Right.
Vrabel has to say, look, this team is different. Think about this. Vrabel and their coach know each other. This is a part of it, too. Like, there is a respect factor. But also, it was brought to my attention that Vrabel he hasn't beat him.
Right.
He hasn't beaten his
0-2?
0-2 against him.
Yep.
It means a little bit more. It's the same way that you have certain like Tom Brady versus Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Why is that so highlighted like that? You know what I'm saying? Like it forever follows you whether you acknowledge it or not. To your point, Will, like Tannehill's got to get over this hump a little bit when it comes down to facing this team.
615-737-1045, the number this morning if you want to jump in. John in the Borough is next up. Good morning, John. How are you?
Good morning, John.
Good morning, everybody. First things first, I hope all of you have a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys all get to spend time with your friends, your family, and your loved ones, and we all remember all the things that we are to be thankful for. Second of all, Buck and Will is not a good boxing match because Buck weighs 250 and Will might weigh the same amount as a can of green beans.
That's fair. That's that half of that's fair.
Buck ain't 250.
Buck's down a little
man.
bit. Buck's doing well with the weight loss.
No.
Buck was trying to be, 200 by the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
200 by the Super Bowl.
He's getting kind of close.
I think he's really close to it.
Yeah.
If recent pictures are anything to be believed, he's going the opposite direction.
I can't wait till Buck get on here. Ooh, I know he's up right now, too.
Anyway, Titans and Bengals, we all know it. It's a revenge game, and I'm kind of like you. I don't give a damn what anybody says. It's a revenge game. We got smacked. We got embarrassed because we walked in there thinking, all right, we're going to beat the Bengals. We're the number one seed. We're going to win. We're not going to take the win for granted, but we do expect to win. And how disappointed and how upset we were at losing the game. And then, of course, Cincinnati goes on to the Super Bowl to lose. But, no, it's a revenge game 100%. But at the end of the day, the revenge game doesn't matter because it's a regular season game. It doesn't matter. Just win the damn game.
Yeah. Yep, it does.
Appreciate it, John.
Appreciate it, John. I think every fan probably feels that way, Will.
Well, and I think revenge is one way to put it, but I think Mike Vrabel and the Titans have adapted what they do based off of that game last year to the point where, in some ways, this is a revenge season. You're avenging really what you didn't do in that game against Cincinnati, which was take care of the football.
Yes.
And so everything that this Titans team has done on offense and even really on defense is predicated around minimizing the mistakes that you made in Nissan Stadium last year to lose that game. Mm-hmm. A game you really had no business losing when you look at it.
And dominated.
I mean, you talk about Mike Vrabel and John Robinson went into this offseason saying it is hard to sack a quarterback 9 times and lose.
Yeah.
How do we make Ryan Tannehill comfortable enough, but how do we build this defense in a way where we can be conservative enough on offense and run the football well enough to let 9 sacks and a defensive performance that was historic in Nissan Stadium last year be enough to push you to the next round?
Yeah, man. And so to your point about doing enough and protecting enough is what you're saying, too. If the Titans roll out the same game plan in which they had against Green Bay, meaning, look, Derek didn't get over 100, so what? He was still effective. The other side of this is we saw Ryan Tannehill spin this ball, Will, like I don't think we've seen since what? everybody keep alluding to 2019 Arthur Smith offense.
2020.
2020? Yeah, 2020 was
2020, the passing offense was fine.
Oh my gosh.
It was great.
Was it not? Because we kept saying if the 2020 team had the 2021 defense, but if they go into this game with the same game plan at home as they did against Green Bay, that puts Ryan Tannehill in a box of being able to make more errors because I'm talking about dealing. He was dealing the ball this past Thursday night, man, against Green Bay. Is he comfortable to do that against his team? That's the question as far as you said, avenging some stuff.
I think it's more important for Ryan Tannehill in terms of a revenge game than it is anyone else as well.
Yes.
Because fair or unfair, and it is a little unfair.
It is unfair.
This is a narrative game for him against the team that he had his lowest point against.
Sucks.
As a quarterback of the NFL. And for quarterbacks, games like this are just viewed a little bit differently, and it's not fair, and it's just the way the conversation is going to go.
Man, think about this, Will. In that game here, for it not to be a revenge game or get back, or whatever you want to call it, dude, 9 sacks and even 1 interception.
Yep.
That's defensively, you're saying to yourself, I'm licking my chops. And I saw a team last weekend in the Pittsburgh Steelers that did the exact same thing to him defensively. They got after him. That offensive line, still, cheeks.
Yeah, the pain they get paid a lot more money, but they're not really
They're not good.
They're not the group that is what Cincinnati hoped it would be to protect their biggest asset in Joe Burrow.
I forgot they even had an interception in that game.
Yeah, Monty Hooker.
Like, goodness.
It's a good interception, too. Really good interception.
With 9 sacks, Will? No, I got to see it this weekend, man. If you're not hyped up about this one, then something's wrong with you. And this Titans team is, too. They have to be.
Honestly, they have to be because, I mean, if you look at it from the Bengals side, like this might not publicly be a revenge game for the Titans, but this is a necessity game for the Bengals. They're a game out of being in the lead for the AFC North.
Yep.
They have an incredibly hard schedule to finish out the season. I don't think they have one losing team aside from the Browns, and they should have Deshaun Watson by then.
Right.
So they're going to come in here ready to play and ready to win, and to say or to take away the revenge game aspect, at least publicly, I think would be a disservice for the live crowd because you need that energy here.
Yeah, you do.
Because who is more pushed to win this game? The Titans have a comfy lead on their division. Yep. They don't have to worry about somebody sneaking up with them and sniping them at the end of the season.
Right.
But the Bengals do. They're having to fight for this AFC or playoff spot. They're in the last spot in the playoffs in a stacked AFC division. So the Bengals are going to come in here hungry.
Yep.
This defense needs to be ready to hurt Joe Burrow. They're going to have the opportunity to, but you got to hurt him where his money is, and that's the deep ball.
Yep.
Right.
100%. And this is so interesting, too, what their offense is. Gosh, it's interesting what it is, too, considering they got Joe Mixon.
615-737-1045, the number this morning if you want to jump in. Angel will lead us off when we come back as we take a look at the practice report yesterday unofficially for the Titans. Who was available, who was not. A couple of guys who appear to be on their way back on the Titans defense. We'll tell you who that is when we come back on Thanksgiving Eve. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone. Wednesday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Happy Thanksgiving to you. If you're hanging out with us this morning, 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Robert Walsh making the show happen as half the show is here. The other half is out on vacation.
The good half's here.
That's right.
I like when Rob comes. He plays ratchet music for me. He know it gets me going.
I heard you. I had to stop it because even though it said clean, I was worried I was going to get in trouble, and I'm not going to lose my job on the day.
Robert's going to mess around
off.
and you're going to get us canceled for having Kanye on.
Yeah, right. Well, technically, it's a Future song, so you could just be like, it wasn't really Kanye. I heard you humming it, and I was like, oh, City on Fire. Burn, Keep It Burning is a banger. So.
I was listening to it this morning coming in.
That Future album, by the way, is probably the best album since, I don't know, man.
Since
No Strings Attached by NSYNC.
Future?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
All right. Then, all right. Hold on. I think this is how Schaefer does it.
Oh, no.
That is a demerit.
It's a great CD. It's funny. I found that CD in my parents' house when I was in high school. And I was like, oh, this is awesome, like retro, like throwback CD, like No Strings Attached by NSYNC. My sister was like, I had that when I was in middle school.
Hey, Will.
Yeah, that was your clue right there.
The name of this album, and if you keep talking like this is what the name of our relationship is.
Uh-oh.
The name of the album, I Never Liked You. Okay?
In all caps.
No, I was thinking of the album that I could most be like the most far away from Future.
Yeah.
Best rap album is Take Care.
Take Care
or 2014 Forest Hills Drive.
Those two are definitely should be in the Hall of Fame.
Nothing was the
They're
same
in the
in
Hall of
Graduation.
Fame.
It's those four. Nothing was the same. Graduation.
See, this is all circumstantial right here. Will.
Take Care. Take Care is a cornerstone to society.
It's so many out there though that are
For
just
sure.
that good.
Now that's the problem with keeping up with music is there are like too many relevant acts to be like, I don't have time to listen to everybody and the good stuff.
The good. See, that's the problem. It's a lot of trash being released.
But see, the problem with this, Will, is the fact that you did not mention. God, it just slipped my mind. The Carter 3.
Carter 3 was the next one I was going to say.
Off the rip is probably the most consistent album of my lifetime.
To me, 1 and 2, Carter 1 and 2 were up there.
Also very good. I mean, then it kind of drops off, and you get Thank You for what is it? His like Sorry for Waiting. Sorry for the Wait.
Sorry for the Wait.
See him, he just steals everybody else's beat. Can you imagine how upset you would be? You pour your sweat, blood, and tears into a song, and you're like, oh, I'm really feeling this. This is great. And then all of a sudden you hear like, oh, Wayne dropped a new album. Hell yeah. What's he talking about? And in the first song you hear, that's my song. Dude, you didn't even ask me.
As soon as you hear the lighter strike, that's when you know that's not longer your song.
That's right.
You hear that? You know it's over with. It's not your song
Robert had it
anymore.
ready.
It is not your song anymore.
So ready. 615-737-1045. The number this morning if you want to jump in. This is why we love it when Bert jumps in on the show.
Get ratchet, man.
Hey, what other producer's going to have a lighter ready? On the ready.
It's a brand new studio, and you've just got an
right.
open flame.
Burn it down. 104. Yeah, keep it burning. Keep
Lord.
it burning.
You see, I got the fire burning behind me.
Yeah, you
as
do.
a matter of fact,
You do.
we put a couple logs on in the studio. There we go.
So Titans and Bengals getting ready for Sunday. Zach Taylor, Bengals head coach, saying earlier this week that running back Joe Mixon remains in concussion protocol. Not playing his hand there, showing his hand on his status. But the Titans were on the practice field yesterday just with the mini bye that they have coming off of Thursday's game in Lambeau. Ben Jones still remaining in concussion protocol, according to Mike Vrabel. Christian Fulton, who left that game with a hamstring injury, did not practice yesterday. But Elijah Molden was back. Amani Hooker was back. He's missed the last 3 games with a shoulder injury. But the very good news, Ramon, is Bud Dupree's return.
I saw that.
Telling the media as well that Bud Dupree missed the last 2 games with a hip injury, but it was the other hip.
Yeah.
So both of he's had hip problems now on both sides.
Yep.
Which I don't know if that's more concerning or less concerning that you've got the issue on the other side now.
It's just I think it's less concerning, honestly, because it means the other one's strong enough. And
Sure.
I think all that had happened was he overcompensated the sore one or the healthy one at the time to take some of the stress off the other one. So hopefully this time he was able to slow down and rehab properly to strengthen up both of them, man. Abduction, adduction, lifts and stretches and whatnot, man. It's just good having him in a game like this. And, of course, Will, it's not a revenge game or anything of those sorts, so we'll just leave that to us. But I saw him moving around. He looked explosive the way he usually does. The video that came out yesterday, Kayla, of course, put out some visuals of Bud. And I get excited for my guy. All I want, and I'm sure all the Titans Nation want Bud to just be healthy because it is a different animal. And with Danico being in a situation right now, man, you need bodies.
Yeah, Danico Autry still expected to miss some time, according to Mike Vrabel, but still no IR stint for him. So you hope you can keep that time away within 4 weeks.
Yeah.
For him for right now. But as we've seen with Cal Phillips and Traylon Burks and some guys in the past, that can evolve pretty quickly where, you go through the first week or two of rehab and then decide, all right, let's, we're kind of using a spot here to make somebody inactive and we can have somebody up to replace you.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping for his sake it'd be good, man.
Sure.
Especially with Elijah Molden, too, being back out there.
Absolutely.
That's bodies, man. This time of the year, you want to be getting them back.
Elijah essentially telling Kayla yesterday that he was hoping to play against Green Bay, just wasn't quite ready. I certainly would expect him to be back out there on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I think he was pretty close on Thursday Night Football against the Packers.
And just said, nah, we're good. Yeah,
right.
100%. It's better that way. This is an AFC game.
Sure.
That was NFC last weekend. Why are we forcing it,
When we come back, we'll get to Angel and Rob on the phone lines at 615-737-1045 with 1 hour down and 3 more to go on Thanksgiving Eve. Tennessee, where they fell in the CFP rankings and what it means for their New Year's Six Bowl hopes. Give you that update when we come back. On Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone.
It's 7:01. What's going on from the Superbook.com sports desk? I'm Robert Walsh. The Titans and the Bengals aren't required to put out an official injury report until later today, so no official practice designations. But we do know who is practicing. Bud Dupree and Amani Hooker both practiced after missing the Packers game. Randy Bullock, on the other hand, who suffered a right calf injury in warm-ups prior to the Broncos game, did not practice, leading the Titans to designate Caleb Shudak to return from the team's PUP list, opening his 21-day window to be activated. The guys that did not practice, Ben Jones with a concussion still, Danico Autry and Christian Fulton did not practice. In the NBA, the Grizzlies fell 113-109 to the Sacramento Kings. John Crew gave it their all, but couldn't overcome a stifling 17-point third quarter. Ja went 12 for 21 for 34 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. And to the ice in the NHL, Preds take on the Red Wings tonight at 6 p.m. from Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. Red Wings are currently 9-5-4 and currently on a 2-game win streak. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on into hour number 2 on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, with the second best producer in the world, Robert Walsh, filling in for Jonathan Schaefer. No Kayla Anderson this morning. It is Ramon and Will on Thanksgiving Eve. A happy Thanksgiving to you, where we ditch the side dish segment, so we talk football. With Brad Crawford coming up at 7:20 in just a couple of minutes, 247 Sports, who will tell us the chances of Tennessee still heading to a New Year's Six bowl game, despite being ranked 10th yesterday in the CFP rankings. Some interesting observations from that around the SEC. You can join the conversation at 615-737-1045. And Ramon, it's Wednesday, and we're going to act like it.
Yes, we are. It's Wednesday, Friday.
It's Friday, and we're going to act like it on Wednesday.
Doggone right,
which is
man.
Today.
A lot of people still going to work. Most of the kids are out of school.
Yep.
They're probably at home eating up all your food.
That's
Refrigerator's wide open.
Wide open.
Wide.
They're not awake yet, but the refrigerator's wide open.
Yes.
They probably just got home a couple of hours ago because they're going out with all their high school friends if they're coming home from college.
It's some 14-year-old right now cursing out an adult on Call of Duty right now. I know that.
The best.
To be true. Not my kid. Better not be my kid. But it's some kid out there that's just talking bad to some adult.
Hey, man, those kids are ruthless.
Robert
dude.
was probably kids on Call of Duty in those online lobbies will find the thing you're most self-conscious about, and they'll talk to you about it.
Dude, I'm telling you, I thought I was a regular person. I thought that I sounded like everyone else sounded until I got in a Call of Duty lobby, and they're like, "How's your sister? I mean, wife? You kiss your dad on the lips." It's like,
that's the one
dude.
thing I'm self-conscious about.
Right? Like, I can't help that I sound like this. I'm sorry. And I drop a big 20-20 game and go kind of neutral.
Yeah. You're like, bro, you want 1v1 me on Rust right now.
You meet me up there. Snipers
if
only.
you are of a certain age, that is the number one thing you could tell somebody. It's like it's not like I'm going to meet you outside. It's like you want 1v1 me on Rust right now.
Oh, my God.
And that's when you know it's serious.
That's when you know it is. Every sleepover as a kid, we're getting sniper rifles or we're going on Rust, and you're going to hide up in that big old tower and just try to snipe your friend.
I saw Kyler Murray was, it's not brought that up. I saw he was inactive this past Monday night in Mexico City.
Yeah, which means he was active on the Call of Duty injury report.
Like, shoot me an invite. What are you guys doing? Come on.
Come on. I'm not playing tonight. That would be my thing. When I was inactive some games, I'm not playing tonight. I'm going to joke all day long.
That was the best. You'd go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and your Xbox, if you didn't take it to college for whatever reason, or you would fire up the Xbox 360 for me because you had the Xbox One in college. You'd go get the old Xbox, which is what we've done in my apartment the past few weeks, which I've mentioned to y'all playing NCAA 14. And we would literally fire up the old games. Be like, what? I wonder if this whole like Modern Warfare, whatever it is, on Call of Duty would be in the Xbox 360. And I'm serious. Like trash talk was invented in those like lobbies playing online.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
100%. That's where keyboard warriors got bold.
Sure
too.
was.
Oh man,
Sure was.
yeah, it's all good though. By the way, man, my friggin' former offensive line coach, not Munch, got fired from the Cardinals.
Really?
Man, Mexico City. It just went down. Apparently, I was like, come on, it's public news. It's the only reason I'm bringing it up. But that kind of broke my heart a little bit, right
unfortunate.
there. Yeah, it's an incident, whatever that is.
Right? Like, I hate when they do that. Like, I wish you would just not tell us anything at that point. Like, if you're not going to give us the juicy details about what went down in Mexico City, like, this sounds like the NFL hangover. Like, we had to fire offensive line coach in Mexico City. Stuff happens, but we're not going to tell you what happened. It's like, come on, man. Like, there has to be an insider. Sure. This is what you guys are here for.
This is what y'all do. Somebody find the news, but that was terrible, man. I hate that for him.
615-737-1045, the number this morning. We go to Angel in Clarksville up next on the phone lines. Good morning, Angel. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Ramon? What's up, Will? Happy Thanksgiving Eve.
Happy Thanksgiving Eve.
You
You be
as well.
safe on that road.
Hey, yeah, I'm on the way to work. I'm about 15 minutes from Broadway.
Okay. Right down the street.
Okay. Yeah, a couple things, man. First off, Ramon, your kids is cussing on that Modern Warfare. that Call of Duty. They cussing. Don't be like me thinking my daughter was all innocent. No, my baby would never do that until I go to a phone and go to a TikTok and message.
Yeah. They ratchet out here, Angel.
Man, and she live in Kentucky, so you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole nother world when you cross that line. So
Love it.
Anyway, first off, Dirty Sprite 2 is Feature's best album.
Okay.
Let's
I'll
not
take
get it
that.
confused. Dirty Sprite 2. Y'all didn't mention Good Kid, Mad City in y'all little Hall of Fame rant. And I know y'all didn't have a go, but God, y'all got to give Kendrick that one, man. That saved lives right
It's
there.
fair. I accept.
Yep, I'm with that one.
And then Will, no ceilings, man. When you talk about Wayne, you got to put no ceilings.
That's
in
fair.
You can't just skip over. You can't. The Sorry for the Wait comes after no ceilings.
Yeah,
and all them
sure.
artists and all that.
Absolutely. Those are fair.
And then last thing on the music, man. I know you got a dumpster dive for some treasure. You guys are right. It's a lot of artists out there, a lot of trash. But if y'all want a fire album that dropped this year, J.I.D., The Forever Story,
Yeah.
signed with Cole and them. Oh, my goodness. That thing is crazy.
Yeah, I'm a JID fan. I like him. I think he does the Leo DiCaprio stuff, too. Yeah, Leo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Now on the football, that boy John that called, man, that man is crazy. This game is personal, okay? I was there. I've been going to games for 17 years. I've had season tickets. This is my 6th year. And I was at that game. It was freezing cold. We had number 1 seed, and the king was back. We all know the story. That place has never been louder. I've never heard Nissan Stadium, even LP Field, louder than when they announced Derrick Henry, and then 2 seconds later, we throw an interception, and then 2 more follow. That hurt. I would have bet my life savings after AJ caught that touchdown in the third, man, that we was going to win that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then this game is going to be on the DBs. I'm glad Hooker and Molden back. They're humongous. And before I hang up, man, we're going to have to start calling Bud's new name is Shakira Dupree, man. The man hips don't lie. Man's hips do not lie. He got hip problems, man, and I got hip problems too. So when you hit that 30-some mark, you know, that lower back and hips, they don't lie.
Oh, that's good.
I love y'all, man. I'm going to hang up and listen. I'm almost to work, man. Tighten up. We need this one.
Let's roll, baby.
Appreciate the call, Angel. Thank you, sir.
Angel always comes in
Have a
hot.
great Thanksgiving.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was as loud as that stadium has ever been.
It was that serious.
It was
Will?
crazy.
It was serious.
It was crazy. Yep.
To Angel's point, Derek's intro,
Yeah, that was when it got just unbelievably loud.
the most anticipated.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
offense get introduced again this weekend.
I don't know.
I need to
doubt
send
it.
Jeff out last.
I would imagine if you're playing a team you had 9 sacks against last year, you're introducing the defense,
Yeah.
the defensive front.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at then. All
Sure.
right. Say less.
615-737-1045. Rob is in Murfreesboro up next on the phone lines. Good morning, Rob.
Morning, Rob.
Morning, gentlemen. Hey, this whole boxing thing, why would y'all want Will to box, the co-host on the Lucas Panzica show.
Oh, that's true. That's a good
I
point.
mean, well, that other guy, I can't remember what his name is. The Yankee boy from up in Indiana, something like that. I mean, you don't need to have some good Southern boy to get a hold of a Yankee. They'd have to be, the law would have to be called at that point to get him off of him.
Oh, that's good right there.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate the call.
I didn't expect Rob to come in petty like that, man.
Always.
How does Buck always catch a stray, man?
Brings it upon himself.
He always catches stray.
The Lucas Panzica show coming up after us this morning. Holiday edition.
Actually, it is, I think. I think Buck's off. I think Lucas is hosting it.
Wait, is that actually true?
I think so.
Wow.
I could be. No, I could be wrong. Don't.
I think
That might be
Buck's on today.
That might be later. That might be. I don't know, man. I'm not supposed to know things like 100%. I just kind of say things and present them as fact.
Robert, you think we know things?
Sounds like most
that
of the
happen
world.
on this station outside of
social
6
media.
to 10 a.m.
I know that there are 3 shows that happen after this. I do not know who will be talking.
And you've produced on all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Are you
that's
really?
True. I'm not producing all of them. No, I'm just with you guys
He
today.
has
but I
produced all
have.
of them.
I have produced all.
God dang.
Yeah.
Working man.
Renaissance man. Renaissance Robert.
Put you on the
I
street.
love that. I'll come in here with a
Renaissance
a
Robert.
poofy neck roll that those jesters used to wear anytime.
615-737-1045 this morning. Let's go to Eric in Nashville before we go to break. Good morning, Eric.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy.
One day we get tomorrow, we can get your grub on.
Yes, sir.
right.
I'm here for
Hey,
it.
hey, guys, real quick. Well, one thing you were talking about the Arizona, and I'm gonna get to the Titans about the Arizona Cardinals coach Cisco getting fired. The reports was that he allegedly groped a woman. That's the report I heard this morning. So there may be more about that coming out. So, but guys, as far as the game Sunday, guys, I was at the playoff game 2 last year, and I'm gonna be at the game Sunday. It's definitely going to be like a playoff atmosphere, loud and everything else. But here's the thing. A win would feel good, but here's the thing. It still won't be totally satisfying because still, what are most Titan fans going to think? Even after the game, we should have beat this team last year. It's not going to erase the fact that the Bengals went to the Super Bowl and won here last year. It'll make you feel better, but it's not going to erase that. While if we lose, it's just going to reinforce the feelings of last year's playoff defeat, and it's going to really make the Titans fans feel bad. I mean, you certainly want to win the game. I definitely will feel better if we win, but it's still not going to erase what happened last year. That's still going to be in people's minds. So that's just my thoughts on it, guys. Y'all take care and have a great Thanksgiving. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Eric.
That's a fair point to be made.
Yeah.
But this is also stacking up to get to get to the playoffs anyhow.
Right.
I think it's still worth it. I still think you say I got you last. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, it does confirm some stuff that you're good enough to beat this team and everything involved with it, but this year is different. It's how I'm approaching it.
When we come back, we shift the conversation to the world of college football. Tennessee comes in at number 10 in the CFP rankings. But what is the path for the Vols to play in a New Year's Six bowl game if they take care of business against Vanderbilt? Brad Crawford, our friend from 247 Sports, joins the conversation after this on Thanksgiving Eve. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling back with you here, and you've heard me talk about League Company and all of the things that they provide, all the services they have, their HVAC, their heating system this time of year as it's getting colder. But League Company also will take care of your plumbing, and they do so many things to make sure that your home is running smoothly. Here's what they do for your plumbing. They'll do drain services, low-flow faucets. You got leaks somewhere in your house, they're going to do leak detection, trenchless pipe replacement, water heaters, and so much more. Their plumbing experts are here to assist with all of your home needs, and they've been assisting this community for nearly 80 years. They've been trusted since 1944. They're open 24/7 with 14 community locations. And I love League Company because they are involved in our communities, whether it's high school sports, local events, Little League. They care about Middle Tennessee, and they care about taking care of you. Drain faucets, low-flow faucets, leak detection, trenchless pipe replacement, water heaters, and so much more. You can find League Company online at leaguecompany.com. Their phone number is easy to remember, 615 615-567-1000. Their plumbing experts are here to assist with all of your home needs. 615-567-1000. That's Lee Company, all you need. Thanksgiving Eve edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors right here at 104.5 The Zone. With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Robert Walsh filling in for Jonathan Schaefer, making the show happen today. A day off for Kayla Anderson, traveling for Thanksgiving. We go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, talking Vols and college football with our friend Brad Crawford of 247 Sports. Good morning, Brad. Happy Thanksgiving. How are you?
Good morning, Brad.
Thanks for having me, man. Good to hear from y'all.
Good to hear from you as well. And I'll tell you what, Brad, now that you've had time to digest it, can you make any more sense of Tennessee's loss to South Carolina and the way that game went over the weekend?
South Carolina has been college football's Jekyll and Hyde team all season. You know, they go on the road and beat Kentucky, come back home a few weeks later, lose to Missouri, lose by 32 points, and don't score an offensive touchdown at Florida, which Florida's not a very good team, and then score 63 points, you know, the most in program history against a ranked team, against a team that I thought was going to be in the Final Four and possibly in the final game with a rematch of Georgia down the road. So as someone who follows this South Carolina program closely the last 2 decades, man, that's probably the most shocking result that I've seen in my lifetime.
Not even you, Brad, could have predicted this. Like, I get the environment. I get the idea of just, okay, we're at home. But what changed? Like, legitimately, like, it's almost as if that team had never seen themselves play like that.
I mean, this team's 3-and-out rate, Ramon, is like second worst in the SEC this season behind Vanderbilt. And, you know, to score on – the first 6 possessions, touchdowns, and go 8 for 9 in the game. And then Spencer Rattler, I mean, 438, 30 of 37, 6 touchdowns against a defense that's not great, but not one that I thought could be torched the way it was. But look, I mean, Saturday night under the lights of Williams-Brice, it's a hard environment at times when South Carolina can score early and that crowd gets into it. And, man, Tennessee was shook really from the opening kickoff.
So and I'm not going to minimize it. Look, a win is a win is a win, and a beatdown is a beatdown. So I don't want any of our listeners. No. I don't want any of our listeners thinking, Moan is going to make an excuse for it. I have zero. The question I have for you is this. What is Spencer Rattler to South Carolina's fan base now? Like, is there any grace given? Like, who is this dude now?
I'll tell you what, man, if he goes into Death Valley and snaps Clemson's 40-game winning streak Saturday, all of a sudden he becomes one of the greatest quarterbacks in program history in just 2 starts. I think for most of the season, Marcus Satterfield, Gamecock's second-year OC, has handcuffed the passing game a bit. I mean, he's a guy who last year Beamer extended 8 of his 10 assistants, and Satterfield was not one of them. So he's on a contract here. And a lot of people think that he's on the hot seat. But, man, if he can beat Tennessee with 63 points and 600 yards and then beat Dabo Swinney on the road this weekend, he's probably getting extended, and Spencer Rattler goes from, undrafted to probably being an early round guy again.
Wow.
Brad Crawford with us this morning from 247 Sports. So, Brad, for Tennessee, what changes does this game sort of accelerate? Because for Tim Banks and this Tennessee defense, they'd overachieved at times this season. And, Ramon and I have said all week, this was more the Tennessee team I think a lot of us expected all season. That showed up, probably a little worse, but similar to what we expected all season. What's next for this Tennessee team and Tim Banks on defense for you?
Yeah, it's hard to separate fact from fiction right now with Tennessee and what I've kind of heard behind the scenes and what's happening in pregame and inside the locker room and sort of a team mutiny. I'm not buying all that to an extent, but I mean I do think there's some value right now in picking Tennessee to roll this weekend against Vanderbilt. I mean, Vanderbilt's won back-to-back games. Yes, this is the best the Commodores have looked in, 5 or 6 seasons. This Tennessee team is still better at most positions. Joe Milton, this offense is not going to change a whole lot without Hendon Hooker, in my opinion. But I just want to see which Tennessee comes out Saturday night in Nashville and plays. Is it going to be one that lets the Gamecocks beat them twice and lose to Vanderbilt? Or is it going to be a team that, can score 45 points the way we know they can and really put it on the Commodores?
Yeah, and Brad, we had our zone teammate and VFL basketball star Ron Slay, the brother, of course, of Ramon Foster, on her show yesterday, and he essentially said that for all the talk about Tennessee's culture under Josh Heupel, This is kind of a culture game against Vanderbilt, right? And if you've got the culture, everybody loves each other and picks each other up.
Right.
This is a game where you got to go pick up your quarterback and Hendon Hooker and kind of play for him, right?
I totally agree. And Josh Heupel goes from SEC Coach of the Year lock, a few weeks ago to if he loses 3 out of his last 4 games in year 2, 9-3 is good. But, man, this Tennessee team goes from number 5 in the country to probably 19 or 20. And, it's not as hot, entering the early signing period. But this is still a very good football team. I don't think that this is tanked everything for the Vols. But, man, I'm like you all. I'm very surprised that we're not going to see Tennessee in the college football playoff this season.
Brad, across the entire SEC, man, other than what Georgia's done, everybody's kind of had a little bit of chink in the armor as far as just taking on water, man. Is this the best SEC we've seen in a while?
That's hard to say because top to bottom, I think the back end of the SEC in its really good years in the conference is still solid with a lot of 6-6, 7-5 teams.
Yeah.
But the bottom of the league this year is pretty bad, man. I mean, Texas A&M preseason top 10 and probably going to finish 4-8. LSU's a team that's going to play Georgia in 2 weeks, but they've given up 40 sacks, and that leads the SEC. No one's talking about LSU's potential, big weakness and Achilles heel. So I think we're going to need to see a competitive Georgia LSU game for this to be considered a really good conference this season. If we see a game where it's 31-10 Georgia, then maybe it's like, man, you've got Bama with 2 losses, LSU going to end with 3. So it's not that strong top to bottom as I expected it would be.
So with that being said, though, too, there may be some shuffling around in the sense of maybe a coaches. I guess I'll start with the head honcho of them all, or maybe he's 1B right now, and then Nick Saban with Kirby doing what he's doing in the sense of the SEC. Where is Saban? And also, I'm not sure if I'm taking Will's thunder, but where's Kiffin in this thing as the Big Friday comes up real soon?
Yeah, I would be shocked at, maybe during the Iron Bowl Saturday if Lane Kiffin's not announced as new head coach at Auburn. There's just too much smoke right now the last 48 hours. Kiffin has kind of skated around the questions. Heading into that Egg Bowl, man, if I was an Ole Miss fan, I'd be kind of worried about that team's focus. Ole Miss has lost, 2 of its last 3 games, gave up 500 yards to an Arkansas team that really hadn't played well, and lost by double digits despite gaining 700 yards, which is just crazy to me. But getting back to Saban, I'd be shocked if Saban doesn't change at least one of his coordinators this season. I know this is kind of the latter half, late part of Saban's career, and most coaches like him don't, have a knee-jerk reaction and change coordinators. But Alabama fans all season have complained about both sides of the football, especially Bill O'Brien. And Bill O'Brien's a guy that I know has applied for, some big-time job openings. So I'd be surprised if Bill O'Brien or Pete Golding are both on that staff again next season.
Brad Crawford, 247 Sports, with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Brad, I certainly would not have expected before the season Clark Lee getting 2 SEC wins before Jimbo Fisher this year. What do you make of this Vanderbilt team right now with Mike Wright back at the quarterback position and just the confidence with which that guy is starting to play?
I was going to say, it certainly helped that Vanderbilt's defense has really come up with some key stops, late in games. And then Mike Wright, coming in and sort of providing the dual threat ability that Vandy's offense didn't have in the middle of the season. But you look at Vandy's team, I mean, they were competitive against Ole Miss for a half there. I thought the Commodores might be able to beat Lane Kiffin back in October. They kind of flatlined in the second half. But that Missouri game, 17-14 loss, that could have been a win. And then for some reason against South Carolina, one of the nation's worst offenses was able to go into Nashville and score 38 before, laying the lumber on Tennessee. So Vandy's a team that is playing really well right now. I actually had Vanderbilt number 10 in my SEC power rankings this year. And in a decade of doing this, fellas, I've never had Vanderbilt number 10 in SEC power rankings. So hats off to Clark Lee and Barton Simmons, former coworker of mine. He's doing a great job recruiting there for the Doors.
When it comes down also to a team that's finishing at the bottom, man, Auburn. I know everybody points at their boosters and support and the money and everything around them, but how does it get like this? Is it them? The boosters, I mean?
I think the boosters certainly run that program. And Ramon, that's not the only program in college football that, boosters have the ultimate say there. I mean, Auburn's a team that has a national championship in the last 12 years. I think it's a top 10 job in college football. Might not be a top 3 job in the SEC, but I mean, I could see why Lane Kiffin would leave Ole Miss for Auburn. And I've actually had several Twitter followers ask me, why is he leaving Oxford for Auburn? That's a lateral move. Let's face it, that's not a lateral move. He can get annual top 10 classes at Auburn that he can't get at Ole Miss because of NIL and, like you said, that booster support.
Brad, what is Tennessee's realistic chance at a New Year's Six bowl game at this point? Coming in at number 10 yesterday in the CFP rankings. Is this out of the question for the Vols, or is there still a shot that if they handle business on Saturday, they could either be heading to Miami or New Orleans?
If the Vols handle business on Saturday, I think they're in the New Year's Six. I had them in the Orange Bowl this week. Not sure of who the opponent's going to be yet, but I mean, I will say the Citrus Bowl is the SEC's first selection after the New Year's Six, and those organizers that I've spoke with down there would love a Tennessee team over, say, an Ole Miss or South Carolina. So I do think at 10-2, Tennessee is going to be in the New Year's Six along with LSU, Georgia, and Alabama.
Brad, what did you make of Dabo Swinney's comments the other day, talking about Tennessee and basically saying, they're flipping burgers during conference championship weekend and just didn't come out and play against South Carolina? I know Tennessee looked like Clemson just on the field with the orange helmets in Columbia on Saturday, but I think there are a lot of people around this area, Brad, that would not mind a New Year's Six bowl game against Dabo Swinney after some of the things he had to say this week.
Yeah, that'd be fun to watch, wouldn't it? And I think that win over Tennessee probably opened Dabo's eyes and his players a little bit that, man, maybe the South Carolina game's not going to be the walkover that it's been the last 6 or 7 seasons. So I'm sure Dabo watched that game closely, thinking, like a lot of us thought on this call, who is this Spencer Rattler guy throwing for 450?
Right. Exactly, man. It's by far one of the most insane things I've seen in a while. With that said, what's South Carolina moving forward? I noticed we're talking about the Vols, but like Shane Beamer gets a lot of grace when it comes down to expectation of him.
Yeah, this is a top 15 class that he's likely going to sign here in a couple weeks during the early signing period. Nicholas Harbor, a top 10 player, 5-star, is between LSU, Michigan, and South Carolina. And if the Gamecocks are able to maybe win this rivalry game and finish strong, and they're able to get him next month, man, that'd be a huge coup. And, if you would have asked me this question, Ramon, before the Tennessee game, I would think there's maybe 30 to 40% of the fan base that, might be questioning Shane Beamer a little bit at the end of this year too. But you're talking about potentially 2 of the biggest wins in program history if they're able to finish the deal Saturday. So I think right now Shane Beamer is passing the test with flying colors.
Brad Crawford has been our guest covering the SEC college football for 247 Sports at bcrawford247. Give him a follow. Great stuff always there that you need in your college football life. Brad, thank you so much, as always, for the time, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, y'all as well.
All right, there is Brad Crawford with us this morning on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Dropping a little nugget there about Lane Kiffin and Auburn, Ramon.
I don't blame him. Like it's I hate it for the kids. I saw some message board yesterday. I actually retweeted it. Somebody said, all of you go grab golf balls and mustard bottles and pelt this guy. I was like, you got to be a brand new way of mad, man, to say pelt somebody.
Yeah.
Who uses pelt?
Well, the quote about Lane Kiffin was, I would be surprised if he is not announced in the Iron Bowl as the new head coach at Auburn, saying there is too much smoke there right now. And we'll get that audio to play for you as well coming up later in the show if you missed any of that conversation. It'll be on the podcast page right at the end of the show as well this morning. But that is noteworthy information.
It is.
You talk about during an Iron Bowl or by the time the Iron Bowl is finished, Auburn could have its new head coach.
Brad's not just going to say anything either.
Right.
Okay. That sucks for those players.
Between that and Brad adding on to us that he expects one of two coordinators to be new, at least for Alabama next year, between Pete Golding and Bill O'Brien.
The fact that he said Bill O'Brien's already put his name in the pot as far as other coaching vacancies.
I was honestly surprised Bill O'Brien didn't get a bigger look for the Tennessee job when it became open in 2021.
Bill. How you, as a Titans fan, gonna say you want Bill O'Brien
because at that
as a
point,
head coach,
because at that point,
as a Vol?
Because at that point, the amount of NCAA. No, let me finish. I'm serious. At that point, the NCAA issues that you had, Bill O'Brien navigated that with flying colors at Penn State when they had as bad of NCAA violations as you could possibly have, and succeeded and got himself an NFL job.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but he's got one of the worst neck moles, I think, in the history of football neck moles.
Outstanding analysis.
Because they're out in the sun all the time. So, they're going to get these big moles, but he has got to chop that thing out and make some guacamole.
I was going to say, it's not that he would have been the right hire or the best hire for Tennessee, but at the time, with as many people who were out there that didn't want the Tennessee job, I thought he was a guy they would end up going back to.
I wouldn't
essentially
have been okay
what I'm
with
saying.
Bill O'Brien.
I
know where you're
wouldn't have
coming
been
from.
either.
I
wouldn't have been either.
From.
I'm saying I think they would have. I thought they would have taken a harder look because of the Penn State stuff.
I'd have just said Texans.
No, of course.
Just drop one word, Texans.
Well, there are plenty of head coaches that are good college coaches that failed miserably in the NFL.
Matt Rule name is trending.
Yeah,
to that point.
Yes.
To that point, he's trending. Maybe he's more fit for a college job anyway, but he got 44 million reasons why not to.
615-737-1045, the number. We take a look at those rankings yesterday from the College Football Playoff Committee and the debate between USC, LSU, and the other teams within the top 10. When we come back, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Black Friday weekend, and Genesis is giving away free Yetis, pizza ovens, free always pans, and free smart TVs. Yes, you heard it right. When you buy a piece of jewelry at Genesis this weekend, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts absolutely free, and this is how it works. You spend $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis will give you a free rechargeable hand warmer or shiatsu massager free. Spend $500 and you'll get an Ember Smart Mug, or spend at least $1,000 at Genesis this weekend and you'll get a free mini projector or Bighorn pizza oven. So you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no extra charge. How about a Yeti Tundra? Yes, the big cooler. When you spend at least $1,800 this week, you can get one of those, or spend $3,500 on a piece of jewelry and choose between a 55-inch 4K TV and a Dyson Airwrap. Yours free. Don't miss this Black Friday event this Friday through Cyber Monday, only at Genesis Diamonds. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
The race begins for the final spot in the college football playoff. Thanksgiving weekend and a fantastic college football weekend on deck. Welcome back in on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Robert Walsh making the show happen. A day off for Kayla Anderson and Jonathan Schaefer this morning. So Robert Walsh spinning the hits.
Yeah, that was solid right there. What a beat, man.
Dude, that is probably, as a producer, you have to have a couple bangers in your bag. And I use either the Project Pat Choose You, which is right there. I prefer that one. But if you have to have the lyrics with it, I prefer the International Players Anthem. Same beat, still fun.
That was the one song I had to have in my wedding. It was that one, the International Players Anthem.
There you go.
I wanted to come out to it. My wife's like,
maybe not.
Maybe not, but we played it, though. Keep your heart, 3 Stacks.
Keep your heart. These girls are smart.
Goodness.
Play your part. Play your part.
USC's road win over UCLA.
Ramon is choosy. Love it. All right, I'm done. I can't.
What's wrong with you? USC's win over UCLA, not enough to move past LSU in the college football playoff rankings last night. LSU 5, USC 6. USC's first AP top 5 ranking since September of 2017. But they still sit right behind LSU.
Still sit right behind. Look at LSU just playing the part, man. Just waiting patiently. They got to go through the SEC championship, though, so that's always going to be an issue right there. I didn't expect us 10 in the college football playoff rankings, but, I mean, you lose the way we did.
You thought Tennessee would be further back or further up?
I thought we'd go like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I just did, but we got boat race, so I get why we sit at 10. So
I saw a lot of mixed reviews about that. Like I saw people saying that they thought they would be 13 or 14. And other people said, like what you said, 8 or 9.
Yeah, that's about where I thought. Seeing 10, okay, it's okay. We can potentially move up this weekend. You just never know what's going to happen. I just don't know if it'll be justified if anybody leaps us as far as that goes, the college football playoffs.
Sure.
In the New Year's Day 6 game. So there's movement to still be made. Whatever happens to Michigan and Ohio State for sure plays a part in it. TCU closing out the season, man. And who does LSU have this weekend? They have
Texas A&M.
A&M. Oh,
yeah.
I mean that's a big recruiting bed for both of those teams, right? A&M and LSU. So I think we'll get something from Jimbo. I hope he pulls a Satterfield on us, or pull a Satterfield on them. Yeah, puncher saves his job, which.
I mean, Harold Perkins, the linebacker for LSU, who was so dominant against Arkansas, was originally a Texas A&M commit.
Yeah.
And then Brian Kelly got that job and got Harold Perkins to come over to LSU, and it was a wrap. I mean, that's one of the best young defensive players in college football right now.
Mm-hmm.
TCU hosts Iowa State. Matt Campbell and Iowa State is always the nemesis of Big 12 teams with playoff chances.
Yeah.
Iowa State punches above its weight against opponents like this all the time.
All the time, man. And again, this is why you can't take a weekend off for underestimating an opponent like this. You just never know what's going to happen, Will. And that's the beauty, honestly, for me, of what college football is as opposed to NFL in a sense.
Sure.
The college football, just stuff happens, Right. You don't have to give out the injury report. No, the tendencies in which college teams operate are way different than NFL in the sense of the game. The hashes are totally different to where you can scheme up stuff a whole lot better. Right. That's why the later in the season, the crazier the games can get against one another in college.
So an interesting scenario, if Oregon loses to Oregon State in the Civil War, that would open the door for Washington and Utah to be in the Pac-12 championship. At that point, USC, essentially at this point, the best path for them would have been beating Utah in the Pac-12 championship and avenging their only loss this season by a point on the road, 2-point conversion, hostile environment, all those things. I think USC is in a really good position right now.
They are.
And Caleb Williams is I mean, I have never seen a player just so quickly become the Heisman Trophy frontrunner like he was able to do last week.
He's on the West Coast. He just stayed steady, man. I was looking at Mike Golick Jr. tweeted out some stuff yesterday on Caleb Williams. Wait till I guess, next April-ish, okay? When it comes time for combine training and stuff like that. We'll see some stuff from him. You're like, oh, my gosh. Watch. The side throws, not Zach Wilson-like because they're over that throw right now. But there'll be a lot of stuff that this kid is capable of.
45-year-old. Oh, sorry.
Well,
Unless you're a cougar.
It is Thanksgiving. And he's looking for a hot meal.
There he is. Pete Thamel, by the way, reporting while we were, actually this was last night, that Kansas and Lance Leipold have agreed to a new contract, including an extension through the 2029 season.
Nice.
So potentially a name off the board for Nebraska and for Wisconsin. But it seems like Wisconsin might just keep the interim in Leonard up there. So we will see what ends up being the case on that side of the coaching carousel. But when we come back, we shift the conversation back to the NFL. What Mike Vrabel said yesterday about the Cincinnati Bengals and about Todd Downing's status going into Sunday's game against the Bengals. Halftime of the show, third quarter. When we come back on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It is about to be 8 o'clock, 7:59 and some change. What's going on from the Superbook.com sports desk? I'm Robert Walsh. The Titans and the Bengals aren't required to put out an official injury report until later today, so no official practice designations. But we do know who is practicing. Bud Dupree and Amani Hooker both practiced after missing the Packers game. And Randy Bullock, who suffered a right calf injury in warm-ups prior to the Broncos game, did not practice, leading the Titans to designate Caleb Shudak to return from the team's PUP list, opening his 21-day window to be activated. Here's the guys who did not practice. Ben Jones still working on the concussion. Danico Autry and Christian Fulton did not practice. In the NBA, the Grizzlies fell 113-109 to the Sacramento Kings. John Crew gave it their all but could not overcome a stifling 17-point third quarter. Ja went 12 for 21 for 34 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. And in the NHL, the Preds take on the Red Wings tonight at 6 p.m. from Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. The Red Wings are 9-5-4 and currently on a 2-game win streak. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on for 2 more hours this week on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors with 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster. There's the second best producer in the world, Robert Walsh, making the show happen. I'm Will Bowling. Kayla Anderson and Jonathan Schaefer off this morning, and we're off and running on a very fast opening 2 hours.
There we are, man. We're in hour 3 right now, man. I'm looking at this NFL schedule. Tomorrow, some good games on, man. And we get them early over here.
Isn't it nice that the teams that always play on Thanksgiving are actually good this year?
Detroit's
Detroit's a little better.
Yeah, 3-game win streak.
3 in a row.
Yeah, I mean,
we call it a streak. It has happened before.
Mm-hmm. And Buffalo needing a win. Like seriously, there's a lot going on right now. This should be very physical for them.
Vikings as well. Cowboys-Giants will be terrific, I think, tomorrow.
I hope so, Will. I hope in us saying that makes it terrific more than anything. I don't need this to be a dud, man. The way Dallas embarrassed Minnesota, I wouldn't expect, Dallas to do the same thing. I just want real good football.
Well, at the same time, too, New York has the same issues protecting Daniel Jones that Minnesota had on Sunday.
Yeah.
Protecting Kirk Cousins. I mean, if you can't protect Daniel Jones in that game,
yeah,
it's going to get ugly.
And he's super skittish like that. Anyway, he can't really, some quarterbacks will move around and create some. Danny Dimes is not one of those guys.
Right.
He's got to see what he's throwing at most of the times. That's not his forte. By the way, what is it, 11:30 Central Time the game will be on? Will you have your first Thanksgiving plate by then?
No.
Oh, you're waiting. Okay.
We go till about 4 o'clock.
Okay, that's about our timeline.
Really?
So. Okay, yeah.
I think you for Thanksgiving and for Christmas too, we usually go around like between lunch and dinner.
Okay.
You call it Thanksgiving dinner, but it's like kind of like a really late lunch or an early dinner.
Do y'all do breakfast also?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Usually it'll be like the little cinnamon rolls that come in the pan that you like put in the oven.
Or just drop off.
Just something easy,
something cool.
but something we can still have.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad makes this thing. It's called a cheese ball, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a ball of cheese, and it is in my family as like an old recipe from my grandmother, and it is literally like pimento cheese wrapped up in a ball with like something else in it. I think it might just be pimento cheese, and then it's covered in nuts.
Yeah, I've seen those before.
And then you like bake it in some way. I forget what you do, but then you like put it in the fridge and it's got to harden.
Yeah.
And then we get these little pretzel crackers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a pretzel cracker and it's got like nuts and pimento cheese on it.
Yeah.
They are so good.
Somebody in the office was talking about your dad's nutty balls, that they were really good, and I couldn't remember who that was.
It's those.
Oh, yeah. It was those. They sound delicious.
Well, because we brought those in at one point. Like, I think literally we did this last year, and then my dad brought in like the cheese ball.
Wow. Way to go, Papa Bolin. Way not to share with Ramon. It's cool.
No, you did.
All good.
You did have some.
I didn't have any.
Yeah,
no,
we did.
I didn't.
You partook in the balls. Yes, you
100%.
did.
Oh, I didn't.
We did definitely last year. Yeah.
We did last year?
You may not.
I never had any of your dad's nutty
that's on
balls.
you.
No, I never had them.
I think we're burying the lead, though, on the Cowboys-Giants game.
Yeah.
I think there's larger implications to this game than we're realizing. I think this is the game for Odell's heart. I think this is where he decides whether he wants to go back home, have his homecoming, and go back to New York, or if he wants to go to that spurned ex. If he's like, look, I used to hang out with the Giants all the time. They had this sexy friend, the Cowboys. Maybe I'm going to spit some game at her. Maybe we end up in the hotel lobby. Like, you don't know. So I think this Thursday you could find out if Odell is going to give his rose to the Giants or if he is going to give his rose to the Cowboys.
The way you break it down, Rob, is like none other, man. That was beautiful.
Yeah, it is interesting that Dak Prescott and the Cowboys are openly recruiting Odell Beckham.
Yeah. Is
Like,
he worth it?
I don't know now. I mean, if he's not on any other team, there's a good reason why.
Yeah.
He's still just sitting there.
Yeah. Health, for sure. Not knowing what the knee looks like at this point.
Or it
Right.
could, I mean, I assume it's just been the price.
Yeah.
Like the price of what it would take to still get him to come in for a season. But, I mean, that's a guy that had a big impact last season to get that team to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's
For
so
sure.
true.
And, I mean, when you look at it, it's like, okay, can he work it and reverse it? Can he flip it down and reverse it? Is
What
your
is your
before the
problem?
flam you up?
He's an endless pit of just information,
Stupid
lyrics,
references.
The pit of
movies.
misery.
I love it, Bert.
Goodness
oh, my
sakes.
gosh. Look, the kids are running the school right now, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
We are running the school. Nobody's here to police us. The hallways
There is
are
no
kinda empty.
substitute teacher. They just decided to let the kids teach the class today.
We can start playing spades if you want to.
Hey,
Right?
please
You got
don't start that because you know it's going to be me and you on a team. Who's Will going to play with?
Oh, we'll find him somebody here.
All right, perfect.
We just
Oh, perfect! I can't wait for Will to cut his partner.
Well, you know,
Like,
Buck won't be here until 9:57, so
know.
I guess
and I
Lucas
would
can come in
not
early.
want to
and-
play spades with Buck either. You can read that dude's face like a book.
can Buck
Yeah, you
play
can.
spades? Man?
Probably not.
Probably
Oh,
not.
100% no.
By the way, there will be some spades playing this weekend over holiday weekend with some families. And we talked about having this conversation.
Yeah, just take a deep breath and don't flip the table over.
Flip the table, dominoes, spades, heck, even Uno.
Settlers of Catan.
I mean, something.
I love Settlers of Catan.
These board games this week, like somebody's gonna fight. Who got a who got a fighting family?
I do.
Your family's not a fighting family,
No.
though, is it?
Well, I'm 10 and 12 years younger than my siblings.
They didn't beat you up much.
Mel,
I think you know the
A
answer
time
to
or
that.
two.
He
Yeah.
did not get his ass beat enough. Come on, look at Will. You tell me that guy got bullied? Come on.
This is fair. That's fair.
yeah, well, look, I was so much smaller than them.
Well, yeah.
Like, if my brother was 16, I was 4.
well,
That's what makes it easy. God, if I was 16
Well, I
and had a
know, that's
little
what I'm
14
saying.
or 4-year-old brother to beat up, I'd
Man.
have loved that. I'd have been choke slamming his ass
That's what I was
everywhere.
just gonna. You know what we were doing to my little brother and sister, man? We were body slamming them on the beds. Like,
Oh, yeah.
we had them jumping off like the dresser, and there's a 7-year gap with us. 16? Oh man, we
12 and 10.
12 and 10. That man, we'd have been like suplexed them like frog splashing.
God forbid there's a trampoline
Oh,
because
my-
you're about to get
oh.
served.
Man, I'm glad my mom didn't get us one.
The game we always played was Balderdash. At
Why
never
does
heard of
everything
Balderdash.
you say sound so pretentious?
It sounds rich as hell.
the game that I regularly used to.
Well, if you
attend
knew
as a
what
child.
Balderdash was, you would know that it's not like a fancy, like, we're not playing polo out in the front yard. with
Okay.
That's
horses.
what it
It's like
sounded like. That's what
No,
I imagined.
it's
I'm gonna be
it's
real.
a card game.
I know
It's
you're
like
very
a-
humble family. I'm not going to paint this as if like Will is like top 0.5% of Brentwood. No, I did not say that respectfully because you may be and your dad hides his money really well. Either way, what I'm saying is to say you play what was that, bully ball?
Balderdash.
Balderdash.
What in the
Bully
world?
ball, you know he can't.
See what I'm saying?
Balderdash.
Balderdash is a game where it's like
Quidditch.
everyone they give a the point of the game is you give a weird sounding word.
Okay.
And everyone writes on a slip of paper what they think the word means. And then you go around and somebody has the real definition, but then everyone else like puts like a fake one.
Yeah.
And you vote on which one you think is real. And if you get it right, then you get a point. But if someone guesses the answer that you put down, then you also get a point.
That sounds too damn smart. My dad would be like, what word do you want me to say? Do they have a list of these words, or are you just in charge of knowing the words?
Roger on, it's somebody's turn. They'll be like, all right, the word is this. And then they take all the submissions and they read it out, and you like go around of like when it's your turn, like you read out all of the answers. So it's like you can't get points when it's your turn to like read it.
Yeah, Roger
on YouTube says it's a lying game. It's a blast. Like this is not like a yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
it's for the common man.
Also, in the chat, Kyle Cadwell said, "Bro, I'm 23. My nephew is 4, and I body slammed him last night. Long as it's safe,
Bleep them kids, man.
Yeah. Boulder Dash. It's
a good time.
Never even got introduced to it, man.
It's a good time.
That sounds cool. Speed is a game we also play too. It's just quick hand
game.
Yeah, it's so many. I don't know. It's weird.
Speed is a game.
Whoa,
Nothing else.
Josh said, my brother-in-law said you can play Boulder Dash on PlayStation now?
Yeah. I'm telling you, like it's a pretty popular game.
Rob, man, clearly we was raised in the slums.
Will's like, and then after that we get together and do our taxes. It's so much fun.
Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. No, y'all made it sound like we're out here with horses playing polo in the front yard. We're going to go play croquet after we have a spot of tea before Thanksgiving.
When you initially said Boulder Dash, I was thinking to myself, old Brentwood, big white fence in the front,
absolutely
checkerboard, cut yard. That's all I was thinking. Man.
When you said it, I was like, Boulder Dash. I'm like, how much money does this dude have to buy a boulder? Like, y'all Indiana Jones this thing? Like, it chases you down the street or something?
The best one, I don't know if we ever did this during Thanksgiving, but the best like game we would go out and play like outside would be we'd play frisbee golf but with trees around the neighborhood. And you'd take frisbees and be like, all right, like 3 houses down. Back when kids played outside, and you pick like a big tree, like 3 or 4 houses down. Like, all right, par 4, let's go. And you'd have to like hit the tree with the frisbee, and that was like
I've never actually played.
And that was like par.
We used to play this game called Don't Hit Me with a Stick. Where everybody would have a stick, and then you would try to hit the other people with a stick. And it's like, yo, don't hit me with that stick. And then
tremendous.
That's what we played.
That was us.
I think you could have named it a little more creatively, but I respect the hustle.
All right, let me get a stick and we'll play. You can name it whatever you want to.
We used to have neighborhood, like we call them wars, but like when there was always like an apple tree in the projects, and the apples used to fall off. We used to throw them at each other. Like that was living dangerous right there.
Well, those like what are they called? Like the crab apples?
Horse apples is what we call.
Like the huge one. We'd be in high school. We are in cross country. We'd be on runs.
Yeah,
and it'd be like bombs away, and you'd look back, and there's like a crowd. You're like, ah!
If my ass is running anywhere, you better not throw something at me, or the next direction I'm running is the other way.
So duck, duck, goose was never your game.
Nah, it was like duck, duck. I'm gonna hit you in the face.
If you hit me, we're fighting.
You're right. Like we just everything turned into a brawl, man.
Did y'all have trampolines? Because there's a gap between us.
Well,
y'all, in school.
No,
you didn't.
Well,
we
school.
had.
I'm trying to say no. We did not.
Trampoline day for us.
See, I was in that generation of kids where everyone decided trampolines were dangerous.
No, you want to talk about a blast in school? Trampoline
Getting double
day.
Jumped on a trampoline.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's the best.
I was just like, because we didn't know anybody that owned one at the time, so like having trampoline day at school was phenomenal, man. We did like the what do you want to call it, gymnastic horse stuff too, where like you had to jump off of those.
Right.
Yeah, we did all of that. They took a lot of stuff out of schools, man.
Yeah, they did.
Shame.
We used to be a proper country. 615-737-1045, the number. Coming up, we will get to the audio of what Mike Vrabel had to say about Todd Downing's status for Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. The practice report from St. Thomas Sports Park, and scout meeting Wednesday on the Cincinnati Bengals, a foe that Ramon Foster is intimately familiar with. When we come back on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Thanksgiving Eve on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Robert Walsh spinning the hits this morning, filling in for Jonathan Schaefer. Kayla Anderson, a day off this morning as well.
Slacking.
615-737-1045 is the phone number if you want to jump in. We'll get to your phone calls coming up in just a moment. But first, Mike Vrabel addressing yesterday Todd Downing's status for the Sunday matchup with the Cincinnati Bengals. And effectively, this becomes a procedural issue for the Titans now, who wait for a word from the NFL. And in the meantime, here's what Mike Vrabel had to say about Todd Downing continuing as the Titans OC.
Or how do you handle that now?
Well, we'll continue forward with, how things were as Todd is our offensive coordinator. Now those things could change. I want to make sure that everybody understands that at any point in time when we hear from the league or, the legal process, those things could obviously change. I want to make sure that everybody understands that. But as right now, that's where we're at, status quo.
What? So there is Mike Vrabel yesterday addressing Todd Downing's status for Sunday. And Ramon, as you know, these things can change quickly when the NFL decides to get involved and hand down their own discipline. But it looks at this moment as if Todd Downing will be the OC on Sunday.
Yeah, that's the move that's going to be made with, and the move probably most coaches follow as far as protocol with having a coach in a situation like this. One thing I've learned, and you guys hear me speak about this all the time, the fraternity of coaches at all levels is tight. There's only a few that really dislike each other in the sense of, disrespectfully just not caring for one another. But the life of an assistant coach is different from the head coach for sure. I'm not sure if assistant coaches get their pay when they're fired also. Their contracts is not always fully guaranteed. When it comes down to it, they usually slid a piece of paper, say, this is what we're going to pay you, and you have to be okay with that. They grind to get to that moment, and Vrabel being a guy that's kind of grinded his way to that moment too. Todd Downing is his friend, and this is also a procedure thing, Will, as you kind of alluded to it too. I think we saw this a little bit this past weekend. If you want to understand what the relationships are like between coaches across all boards, Nick Sirianni winning against the Colts, going to that Colts crowd and saying that was for Frank Wright. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not minimizing anything Todd did, but you guys know, like I know, in this world there are relationships that happen, and this is one of those things as far as Vrabel is concerned, with the protocol in which they're afforded to have by saying we got time to finish, to really look at this thing and figure out what the league is going to do, and because of that, we'll sit back and let Todd handle his play calling duties.
No doubt. So that is the update for right now. Really, the update being there is no update about any league discipline for Todd Downing after the DUI charge. On the practice field yesterday, Elijah Molden back on the practice field. Ben Jones and Christian Fulton still absent as Ben Jones works his way back from concussion protocol, remaining in that protocol, according to Mike Vrabel yesterday. Amani Hooker back on the practice field, and Bud Dupree, who tells the media that he's now had injuries to both hips this season, is back on the practice field yesterday. So we'll get an official injury report today. Yesterday, just a practice day for them. Did not have to put out an official report, considering it was only a Tuesday. But you have the long rest week, and you get back out there and at least open the locker room to talk to media.
Yeah, for sure, man. It'll be good to have him back out there. He looked like he was in high spirit as far as Bud was concerned. And, of course, we'll get the injury report in some capacity moving forward, man. So having Bud is a good thing. And even if you get it partially, I just want to see him make it through an entire game, Will. I know he's tired of it as a player, as somebody that's part of this Tennessee Titans team. And injuries get the best of you.
Sure. So looking at the Cincinnati Bengals, this is a very familiar foe for you. Both in the past and just the way this team plays and the identity of the franchise, but just this team. Obviously, they played your Steelers last weekend.
Yeah, man.
And got a win coming off the bye week. But this offense, Ramon, number 7 in total offense in yards, the number 4 passing offense in the NFL. But when you talk about Joe Mixon and what he's been able to do, and he's still in concussion protocol, according to head coach Zach Taylor, who spoke to the media earlier this week, it's only the number 28 rushing offense in the NFL this year in Cincinnati.
It's low. That's where we're headed. We're headed down Scout Meeting Wednesday.
Let's do it.
We're headed down Scout Meeting Wednesday right now. And to Will's point, man, this is a 6-4 team that seems to actually be catching on a little bit. I got to give them that. They beat a bad Steelers team, but they still beat them at their home place. And Joe Burrow is doing Joe Burrow-like things with what you said as far as their passing, man. Again, they're averaging 26.5 points per game. They rank third in the league as far as they're concerned. Also, 48.4% on third down. This is the part where they will just death by 1,000 paper cuts by thinking they're doing something in which they're not with having Joe Mixon. They are scoring 75% of the time when they get to the red zone. Touchdowns, they are. They have an attraction to the end zone. They really do, man. That puts them number one in the league. This is the challenge for the Tennessee Titans this weekend. Keep them out of the red zone. If they do get in the red zone, no touchdown. Take threes. And this is the other part of it, too. Rhett came in here a little bit earlier, and we were speaking about this guy. They have a kicker, Evan McPherson, who I think probably had one of the best halftime show just realities in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because he just sits there and watches it.
He sat there and watched it, and everybody's looking like, well, as long as you're doing your job and you're supposed to be out on the field, enjoy it. And I was just like, if I was a kicker, that's what I would do.
Oh, yeah.
But as soon as he crossed the 50-yard line, he's one of those guys now. You got to kind of ring him up for 3 points. He's had a 59-yarder, and he's had, from Rhett said, 2 58s this year.
Yep.
He is good, man. But with Joe Burrow, 69% completion rate right now, man. He's 22 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. This is the thing. Has been sacked 32 times. That ties second in the league. Think about him getting sacked, though. He has a friggin' rifle when it comes down to his arm. He can really dice you apart still.
And he's able to make quick reads considering the talent and athleticism he has at the wide receiver position.
Yes.
And it seems like that's where Cincinnati gets you, is the fact that Jamar Chase, when healthy, can win one-on-one at the snap. T. Higgins at the number 2 position is immediately winning one-on-one and getting downfield. And they're creating explosive plays based off of teams smelling blood in the water and sending 6 or 7 guys.
That's them. That's them, man. And then you left with a guy like T. Higgins, who is as tall as a tree, that's able to just moss almost anybody. Or
Oak Ridge, Tennessee's finest.
Yes, sir. Or you have a guy like Jamar Chase that we expect to be back this week that can do similar like things. He plays bully ball when it comes down to the wide receiver position. Not tall, but a thick wide receiver that you just really – he'll get physical with you. But on the side of Joe Burrow, too, man, he must be abused this week. Their O-line is bad. It's bad, y'all.
And they paid a lot more money to that offensive line.
Yeah, they did.
Former Titan Quentin Spain, no longer a part of that group. And I think that's unfortunate for Jeffrey Simmons and the Titans' defensive line.
Not a rivalry, Will.
A, because they typically do well against him. B, because he made sure to take a victory lap over the Titans after the win last season.
He did.
This kind of offense, Ramon, concerns me for the Titans.
Why so?
Defensively.
Talk to me.
Because the Titans take the soul of so many offenses by, A, hitting the quarterback, and B, taking away the run game and making offenses one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Well, Cincinnati's already one-dimensional.
They are.
They don't run the football very effectively. Joe Mixon, I would be surprised if Joe Mixon plays on Sunday, coming right off of concussion protocol. I think in the NFL this year,
and it's holiday week,
you're usually taking a week off of a concussion.
Yeah.
They're going to be safer versus being more sorry at this point in 2022. But I think this kind of offense worries you because you're not going to be able to take the soul of Joe Burrow and kind of beat him up a little bit and force him to not play with as much confidence. He's used to it.
He's used to it right
His
now.
entire NFL career, he has been under attack based off of an offensive line that is, I think, over the last 3 seasons at his time in the league, has been the worst offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah, it has been, man. And this is where I'm at with Joe Burrow. He's mobile but not fast. He can get out of the pocket and create, man, simply because he has the wide receivers and whatnot to get it done, man. To your point, Will, they are winning on his back, hands down. And for these reasons, you say, how? They got Joe Mixon. No, they don't. They really don't.
Joe Mixon's got Joe Burrow.
Joe Mixon's got Joe Burrow, and this is why. They've only had, and this is probably going to shock you if you hadn't looked at it, and maybe it won't. This Cincinnati Bengals team has only had 3 100-yard rushing games on the entire year. And I I think highly of the athlete and player that Joe Mixon is.
Sure.
Their rushing totals for this year, 89 yards, 69, 67, 75, 78, 36 against Cleveland.
Right. The thing about that is they will use Joe Mixon in the pass game.
That's the problem.
And Samaje Perine, who comes in for Cincinnati against Pittsburgh, has 4 catches and 3 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is so good at recognizing the soft spot on the defense, but getting the football out of his hands so quickly. He's so conditioned at this point to being under pressure because he's always been under pressure the entire time he's been in the National Football League that he knows where that hot read is.
Yeah.
Every time there's a free rusher and he knows he has to get the football out within a second.
Yeah, that's what he does. His eyes are always downfield. He moves around, and the thing about him, he's getting sacked, but it seemed like it doesn't really even bother him.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Have you guys heard that clip of him talking about getting sacked and how he views like sacks on the field?
No.
So if he takes a sack on 3rd down to him, that's not a big deal because he was trying to extend the play. He was trying to continue to move down the field. He doesn't mind taking a sack on 3rd down because he knows, and he doesn't mind taking a sack on early downs because he knows he can get it back.
He can get it back.
But I did want to play a little bit of devil's advocate with their offensive line. I'm not disputing that they're bad. The numbers are not good.
Right.
But I do think they are trending in a better direction. The sack numbers have not improved, and I think that's partially due to the Bengals offense. A lot of late developing routes where they're waiting for things to get open down the field, and that's causing Burrow to get sacked. But they've gotten a lot of the cancerous pieces of their offensive line moved out. They're starting Volson, a 4th-round pick at left guard. They moved Jackson Carmine out, who was horrendous for them.
But was a stud at Clemson,
Was
though,
so
man.
good, man.
Is he from the I think he's from here. He's from Tennessee.
Oh, I didn't know he was from
yeah,
Tennessee.
I think he's from Tennessee.
I
I'll
knew-
have to look that up.
Really?
Yeah. Jackson Carmen. We can continue on, Bert.
Check
I ain't
him
mean
out.
to cut you out.
No, you're good. You're good. And Lyle Collins, his grades may not look good, and he's not the guy you're going to want to show young offensive linemen. He's winning really ugly. And it's because he's having to scrap all of these guys going against him at right tackle instead of being able to run the ball and get in a rhythm and learn these guys. They're all just pushing and trying to break Joe Burrow. So he's not losing on these sacks. He's just holding so long that, like, of course people are going to get pressure on Burrow.
Right.
They're holding the ball so long. So their offensive line is not great, but I think it's trending in a better direction than it was in the last time the Titans saw them in the 9-sack performance.
I was wrong on Jackson Carmen. He's not from the state. Clemson did have a lineman that was from Tennessee. I forget which one it was. I thought it was Jackson.
Jackson Carmen was from Fairfield, Ohio. A little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit different.
The belly button of the United States.
It was just a dreadful place.
We could make it 49 states. I would be okay with it. We could just take Ohio off the map.
I don't know if Mike
no
Vrabel
longer
would
need
really
Ohio.
like that. But.
Nothing wrong with that. But also the other part of this too, their running back, Samaje Perine, or if Joe Mixon do play, they are very heavy in the pass game, screen game. They run it like no other, and I think that's due to the fact that everybody gets after.
Keeps you honest.
Joe Burrow.
The front 7.
They abused Pittsburgh last week in the screen game. They just did. And Joe Burrow, man, had a day with T. Higgins. T. Higgins also had 9 for 148 with no touchdown. Will said that like 10 times yesterday, Bert. He just twisted the knife.
I said
yesterday.
it once or twice.
God, dude.
Once or twice.
I have never been more unhappy for a team to finally get good again than the Bengals.
Me too.
Because
Well, the fans don't know how to handle it.
They don't deserve it, man.
Like,
I would say something different for Browns fans, like Deshaun Watson stuff aside. Like, at least they hung with a really bad team.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
The Bengals have always been, to me, like a medium dangerous team. Like, even when they had Carson Palmer and A.J. Green and then, like, the Andy Dalton stuff, even when they were good.
They're 9-7 every year.
They're like a cold burger.
There you go.
Yeah.
What?
I'll eat it.
Expand that one for me.
It's just ground beef being cold. Like, the entire burger left outside, and you're like, oh, it's a burger. I'll eat this. Like, that's what they are. They're a cold burger. Like,
and you know it could be good. It could be good if they got heated up.
The
if
flavor
they got hot.
is there, but it doesn't heat up at the right time.
See what I'm saying? Yes, that's what they are. They're a cold burger, man. It's what they are. But the other side of this though too, man, is they have a tight end that does a whole lot for them too. A whole lot for them also. And gosh, who is it? Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst.
Old as dirt, Hayden Hurst.
He had a good game last weekend. He's been solid. He's doing tight end like things. That's what he's doing. But defensively, this is where I want to go with this team too, as we speak about them real quick. Of course, Tyler Boyd is a really good number 3. T. Higgins really solid. Jamar potentially gets back this week, and you got two stud running backs, man, right now. But Pratt on the game against the Steelers this past weekend released a comment after the fact. We're speaking about what Vrabel is having his team say as far as what not to do. But Pratt told Brian Diardo of CBS Sports after the game, just settling down. It was us giving them plays. We knew what they were going to do. They like to do the same plays over and over. This is why you rub people's face in the dirt when you get the opportunity. When you win, you say whatever you want to.
Bengals haven't had that opportunity very often against Pittsburgh.
They have not. First game of the season, they lost this one. This right here ain't a AFC North versus AFC North. This is playing each other 2 times within the same year.
It's AFC Central.
A rematch. Yeah, it is AFC Central. The fact that Pratt said that after the game, the starting linebacker, lead tackler for the Cincinnati Bengals also, lets you know that if given that opportunity, there will be some residual conversation after the game about, well, they can never beat us. You know what I'm saying? Or we did it again on their home turf.
Right.
You got to be disrespectful in sports, man. I'm sorry. This is just, I know, don't run the score up. No. Vrabel, if you and Todd down there, whoever's calling plays are rolling, run it up.
615-737-1045, the number if you want to jump in. And when we come back, what Kevin Byard had to say in the Titans locker room yesterday about this being a revenge game and, well, just it really not being a revenge game and avoiding that. Kayla Anderson was able to catch up with him. We'll play you that audio from the Titans locker room yesterday afternoon when we come back on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone. Thanksgiving Eve on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. It's just Ramon and Will today. Jonathan Schaefer on vacation. Kayla Anderson out this morning. Meaning Robert Walsh, the second best producer in the world, makes the show happen. 615-737-1045 is the number this morning. Kevin Byard, among those in the Titans locker room representing this team, talking about the Cincinnati loss last year, Ramon Foster. And Kevin Byard is always one that is going to be honest with you, but he knows the company line that Mike Vrabel says as well as anybody. And so if Mike Vrabel says it's not a revenge game, then odds are Kevin Byard is going to say that it's not a revenge game. So
Sure it is, Will.
Here is what Kevin Byard had to say yesterday talking to Kayla.
It's not a revenge game for many guys in terms of they're not saying that, but the fans think of it that way. I mean, now to get them back here, kind of nice to have them here on the road again.
I mean, it makes sense for the fans to feel like that. I mean, I'm not saying that we're looking at it is just another game, but I hope that the fans really feel that way because they should come out super amped up, tailgating all day, be excited for this game because we're going to need them, especially on third downs because they're really good on third down.
Yep.
So that is Kevin Byard yesterday, a portion of his conversation in the open locker room with the media. And I like it. He said, if the fans want to see it as a revenge game, you go right ahead.
That's basically saying, I need y'all to participate
Saying,
a lot this
we know
weekend.
it is. Bring the energy of a revenge game.
And Byard's smart enough to be able to just dance around the words like that, too. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all can call it one. We're going to go play football. Yeah, Cav. I'm with you.
Yeah, but if you guys wanted to be loud, like I would be loud on third down. I would be the most mad about this rivalry game on third down because, that's where they're the best at. But it's not a rivalry game.
Not a rivalry game. No, not at all, man.
The rushing defense for Cincinnati, continuing scout meeting Wednesday, which we'll do with Rhett Bryan coming up here in 10 minutes, only allowed 102 rushing yards to Pittsburgh and 64 rushing yards to Carolina in the last two games.
Yeah.
But when you look back at some of their performances this season, Cincinnati's run defense has been feast or famine in a big way, meaning feast for the other team or famine for the other team.
Right.
I mean, 64 rushing yards to Carolina is impressive, but 3 weeks ago they gave up 172 on the ground to the Cleveland Browns.
See what I'm saying?
And going back to an October 16th win over the New Orleans Saints down there in NOLA, 30-26, they get the win, but they gave up 228 rushing yards to the Aints.
To the Yanks, man.
A month ago.
Yeah, that's a hard day at the office right there, Will.
Derrick Henry, come on down.
Come on down.
I mean, I essentially just think that if you can't take away one element of this offense effectively, a healthy version of this Titans offense is always going to like its chances against a team that is capable of giving up 200 rushing yards per game.
Yeah.
But they do get DJ Reader back.
That's what I was going to say.
Their big defensive tackle who's been out, been replaced by Cameron Sample, the young guy. And Ramon, when you look at the Cincinnati defense, they have drafted pretty much every member of this defense.
Yes. They've kind of figured it out a little bit whenever they got away from the old coaching regime, man. And I'll say this. Don't let us talking about what they do good or bad right now take away from what they actually are.
Sure.
Like, this is just information so you as a fan can be prepared for it. Cincinnati plays a nasty style of ball, too. This will be a chippy game, in my opinion, as far as one versus another, Titans versus Bengals in that sense, right? They got some guys up front, as you just said. B.J. Hill is a guy that you have to keep a lookout for. DJ Reader is a big-time run stopper. This Cincinnati team will treat this Titans offense the same way as everybody else does. Stop 22. And in that moment right there, you have to be able to, get past Von Bell. He's been Johnny on the spot for the most part, man. 4 picks on the season. And then this is the part that gets a little worse in that time because of my goddamn this daily. You got 2 dudes, Sam Hubbard.
Yep.
And Trey Hendrickson. Okay, animals.
6 sacks for Sam Hubbard, 7 sacks for Trey Hendrickson this year.
And that's the thing. They have their sacks, but this is the part that gets you most. Ryan Tannehill on his bad will until they get all the way Hill. I mean, they got 14 and 18 quarterback hits on the season, too. That's actually a good volume number right there, man. They got after Pittsburgh's left tackle this past game. Trey Hendrickson, listen to me, Will. It started off as a showpiece. Like, oh, let me see what I got.
Sure.
By the time the end of the third quarter came into the fourth, he owned him. Will, he owned him.
Sure did.
I look at this as Dennis Daly, and I say, look, don't let Trey Hendrickson fool you. He's coming. Sam Hubbard has been a go-harder since the day he came into the league. This will be a good challenge.
Let me ask you this about Trey Hendrickson, because Pro Football Focus has fantastic coverage grades for him.
Mm-hmm.
As a guy that drops back a couple of times and will play coverage, he's an athletic player.
He is.
He remind you of Harold Landry a little bit with just the similarities and the way they use him?
Yeah, 100%. But he's a bigger Harold Landry, though. Like, this dude has got some size on him, man. Yeah, what is he? 6'4", 270. He's got a little bit of size on him. I'm not sure if Harold is that big, but that does speak to his athleticism, Will. Being able to be that extra body, and it's probably because they trust their guys up front to get a rush, but Cincinnati is known for double A-gap schemes up front, to where they would put so much pressure on the A-gap or giving fake pressure that they end up dropping a guy like him into coverage, man. This will be they got their hands full this week. I won't even say anything bad about what Trey Hendrickson represents, man. He drops in coverage. They do a bunch of fooling stuff. They've forever been that. The reason we stopped tucking, the reason why Pouncey stopped looking in between his legs for the snap count, you know how centers do?
Yep.
It's because of all the things that Cincinnati does before, pre-snap.
Interesting.
During the game, and they still do those things. When I started to having to tap, it was because of what Cincinnati did, and they still do those things.
When we come back, headlines again from St. Thomas Sports Park. Who was back on the practice field? Who was unavailable once again for the Titans? And Rhett Bryan, the executive producer of Titans Radio, joins us for the fourth and final hour this morning. When we come back for the final hour of the week, fours up around Middle Tennessee and beyond. On Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
What's going on? A minute shy from 9 o'clock from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Robert Walsh. I can talk today. The Titans and the Bengals aren't required to put out an official injury report until later today, so no official practice designations, but we do know who is practicing. Bud Dupree and Amani Hooker both practiced after missing the Packers game. Randy Bullock, who suffered the right calf injury in warm-ups prior to the Broncos game, did not practice, leading the Titans to designate Caleb Shudak for return from the team's PUP list, opening his 21-day window to be activated. Now, the guys that did not practice, Ben Jones, Danico Autry, Christian Fulton, did not practice. In the NBA, the Grizzlies fell 113-109 to the Sacramento Kings. John Crew gave it their all, but they could not overcome a stifling 17-point third quarter. Ja went 12 for 21 for 34 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. And to the ice, the Preds take on the Red Wings tonight at 6 p.m. from Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. The Red Wings are 9-5-4 and currently on a 2-game win streak. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on for one more hour this week on Thanksgiving Eve. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. With 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, the second best producer in the world, Robert Walsh, filling in for Jonathan Schaefer this morning. We are joined by the executive producer of Titans Radio, Rhett Bryan, sitting in Kayla Anderson's seat for one final hour of the show. Good morning, Rhett. How are we?
I'm great. In the time window we are in,
yes,
I'm finding all kinds of things to be thankful for. I'm always thankful to be on this show and be around you fellas, even though Shafe and Kayla aren't here.
Boo.
They're traveling. Hey, it's Thanksgiving. You do that.
If you
I
say
get
so.
it.
Okay.
But I'm thankful for a lot of things. Got a lot of things to be thankful for. My cup runneth over, as they say. Titans are 7-3, man. After piecemealing some things together.
That's right.
Just like they did a year ago. It's interesting. And this Bengals game gonna be something. But I think the one of the keys in this, I am glad that Traylon Burks is back and has started to stack performances. Got his first breakout game out of the way. Now all he needs is a couple of tutties. And that's what it's going to take, because you can't score 20 points against these guys.
Right.
You're going to have to lay up the points.
You bring up a good point, and I had this conversation with somebody the other day, too. In the words of Coach Mack, this is why you always must, and I know it's hard, even I, doing this job, have a hard time doing it, keeping your powder dry. Because if you look at the early part of the season, the ups and downs, the back and forth, and now you sit in a position to where you can really start to move outside the pack a little bit and catch a little acceleration, Red, as you try to take over, I don't know, 2 seed, 1 seed, whatever the case may be. You're in position right now, almost the same as you were last year, but in the beginning of the season, it didn't look like this.
We started 0-2.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but when you look back, they're a couple of plays away from me and 9-1.
Crazy.
Throw the Buffalo game out. That was a blowout.
Yeah.
But, and let me say this, and I want your opinion on this, because you did it in the trenches for 11 years. The mantra at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park that this is not a revenge game. For the vets who were on the team who lost in that game January 15th, 2022, divisional round, Nissan Stadium, there's got to be something in there. There's a little fire in the belly, is it not? I mean, because let me say this, and I think I speak for a lot of Titans fans, if not all of them. This is a damn revenge game for me. Okay? It is.
Yeah.
I want Joe Burrow
swimming.
Gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just,
You're gonna think about
the hesitation was good enough for me.
I just
Your silence spoke volumes, Rhett.
It did.
I want 20 quarterback sacks.
Yeah.
But what I want this time is I want some forced fumbles. I want some picks. I want the turnover magic.
If he's Macaulay Culkin.
He is. He's going back home.
Oh, the wet bandits are back, baby.
Yes, and the wet bandits go back home to Chicago while your family's on vacation, and the wet bandits, have fun with Macaulay.
That's right.
And Rhett, of course, I'm glad you to have said this because they're doing exactly what Coach Vrabel wants them to do.
And you know what? That's smart because you're not giving them any bulletin board material. But I'm looking at Big Jeff and I'm looking at Kevin Byard in the locker room yesterday. I'm like, come on, man, say it.
We just played the audio from Kevin Byard in the last segment of him saying, not really a revenge game for us, but if the fans wanted to be a revenge game, though, then you're welcome to bring that energy.
Yeah,
that to me spoke volumes.
I want it to be like a Civil War battlefield, and there's guys taking off in covered wagons with wounds. Come on,
right? This is like that spot on the Peaky Blinders where I tweeted out earlier this year. Hey, no fighting. This is Vrabel.
Right.
No fighting. No fighting. And next thing you know, he's smacking people up himself. Like, that's what we are, Rhett. That's what this is.
Can they wear those skid lids like that with a blade in the front?
Yes,
and just
100%.
start whacking people? Let's do that.
The Peaky Blinders. That's what we are.
Courtesy of the Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, that's what we are. See, Rhett, I was chilling, man.
Rhett's ready today.
He is, Rhett.
Rhett's ready today.
People have been trying to
always
suppress
ready,
me.
but
We played all this audio about everybody saying it's not a revenge game. No, it's not a revenge. No, it's not. We were half of y'all wasn't even here.
And listen, I'm glad. Honestly, I'm glad they're doing that because they're going to leave it all out on the field.
Sure.
But for me, come on!
I like it when break it like this.
Little message courtesy of the Peaky Blinders.
Damn right.
But seriously, the turnovers, we know that was the difference of the game 10 months ago.
Yeah.
And when you look at their +1 in giveaway takeaway, but the crazy thing is they're -7 versus your team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in 2 meetings. -7. Burrow had two picks Sunday at Acrisure Stadium. So, but when you look at it that way, they're +8 against everybody else on the schedule. So you have to be careful.
But you know what the Steelers did to them? Well, this is what happened. They ran out. The Steelers ran out of just air. Okay, they just got to a point.
Kenny Pickett looks like he's struggling,
like a rookie. He looked exactly like a rookie.
Baby Hands is having a hard time.
He's having a hard time right now. Right, they're trying to get behind him, and they will eventually. This is where I go with that. They're getting behind him, but they just have. If people weren't excited about Todd Downing, you should go to Pittsburgh and talk about the OC there. Okay.
Canada.
This is where Canada. Okay, we'll just leave it there. But defensively is where we're talking right now. Right. The defenses are very similar. I think the Titans secondary is better than what Pittsburgh has, but the front 7 of both of these teams, Cam and Jeff, similar. Okay, the ability to get Bud back or having Rashad out there to me is very similar to what TJ and Alex Highsmith do. You know what I'm saying? Linebackers up the middle, solid. Do really good thing. I think David Long is probably better than what Pittsburgh has up the middle right now. In general, I say to myself, look at that tape. Do what they did. That Cincinnati Bengals offensive line want to give it up quicker than a matador trying to hold a red sheet right now. You see what I'm saying? Like, just take it away. That's basically what they're doing to Joe Burrow.
Okay, to your point, they've had 3 wholesale changes on the offensive line.
Terrible.
3 different starters. Yep. He was sacked 51 times a year ago.
Yep.
He's already been sacked 32 times, and we are through. This is coming into week 12.
Run it up this weekend. You got to follow the game.
But you got to make
plan.
something happen when you do.
Well, and the other part of it, too, Burt had a real good point. Burrow's okay with the sacks. He think he's the big gunslinger that he is. He'll make it up. That's where you have to be solid on the back end. That's where the screen game, Will brought up the point earlier. Like, don't get fooled by Joe Mixon.
And they take advantage of you being so aggressive and rushing the quarterback. They'll pop it over your head to Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine.
And that's why it's important for you to rush 4, cover with 7, which the Titans have really done well and are doing well.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what you have to do.
So and also this, it's okay to play with emotions as long as you keep them tight. I can't go out there and just rah all the way through pregame. Like no.
You'll expend all your energy, and by the third quarter, you're going.
You're spent.
Oh,
yes.
wish I hadn't have done that.
And this game right here has to be emotional in a good way, and also somebody fighting some emotions. Tannehill, in some sense, I'm sure we'll speak about soon.
Well, let me say this too. Folks coming to the game, we need you. We need be like me. This is y'all's revenge game.
That's right.
Help this defense out.
Yeah.
And they will. I firmly believe that they will. That's what has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think between that and the performance this defense is coming off of in Green Bay and the performance this offense is coming off of in Green Bay.
That's why I feel good about Sunday.
Yes.
It's the offensive performance. They put up 27 points.
Yeah. I think it's the perfect storm for a pretty special day in Nissan Stadium when you talk about holiday weekend. A lot of folks probably coming back home to Nashville, whether you're a college student, whether you're, I'm thinking of the people I know that are just coming back into town that are texting me these past couple days and, are back in the area.
Like Will, you have tickets?
Yeah, right. No. Well, no, I do not.
That's usually the first question.
Right. But I think it's cool, just the moment the Titans are having right now on offense. And when you look at the weaknesses of this Cincinnati team, they've got some young corners. And they have got specifically the second-round pick out of Nebraska in Cam Taylor-Britt, who is learning on the job right now at the cornerback position.
All right, you hit a very important part of this because, first of all, I totally agree. Traylon Burks being wide receiver 1 will automatically help, and we've already seen it help Nick Westbrook-Akine, Bobby Trees, and the rest. And then you saw what the tight ends have started to do. I mean, Austin Hooper had a great game. And then, yes, Derek had 28 tough carries. He didn't get a bust 100, but it was a great reciprocal thing. And, of course, Ryan Tannehill, again, he played out of his mind. He was great. So that's huge. But you're right. The big thing with this Bengals defense, DJ Reader came back from an injured knee. He'd been out 6 games. He didn't show up on the stat sheet, but he made a difference. He made the guys around him eat and get the scraps out of this thing. Yeah. Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, they started, but you're right. The one dent in the armor is Chidobe Awuzie was their big corner in this thing, and he is gone with an injury. And that is a place where you can take advantage of them because they've got good players through all 3 tiers, but that's a place where you can have a mismatch.
Certainly. When we come back, we continue the conversation with Rhett Bryan of Titans Radio, looking at the Cincinnati Bengals and specifically what they do well. And the wide receivers not named Jamar Chase, who have emerged this season, starting with East Tennessee's own T. Higgins, who continues to be quite a threat for Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, and the Cincinnati offense. We continue our conversation with Rhett Bryan after this on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Change is coming, and you need to be prepared for it. Hey, this is Ramon Fawson. Did you know that new regulations are coming soon that could increase the price of replacing your older HVAC system by over 20%? That's why you need to act now and get that older system replaced by my friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer 18 months with no payments, and you can lock in today's price and not have to pay until spring of 2024. Or you can get up to $1,500 off your new HVAC system. Now, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is always backed by a 10-year parts and labor warranties on York products. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is also a York certified comfort expert company. If you need repair work also, they offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs. They are the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
Wednesday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, right here at 104.5 The Zone. With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Kayla Anderson and Jonathan Schaefer, very well-deserved days off today. Depends on who you ask. I guess
Bert
they'll be
bringing the
well-deserved.
jam back right there.
Robert Walsh spinning the hits today. Rhett Bryan in studio with us as well on
Hey,
Scout Media
and look,
Wednesday.
for you people in the chat saying Kayla looks rough today, y'all stop talking about Rhett like that. Y'all stop talking about Rhett like that.
Well, when somebody actually posted that earlier, they're talking about you because you have been on screen all the time, and you had the hair down this morning as well. So somebody commented and said, "Well, Kayla looks a lot different."
I was walking around in the mall maybe last
good.
week. I bent over to tie my shoes, and this man was like, "Excuse me, ma'am." No lie. I thought about cutting all my hair off. Like, I know it's juicy, but please don't touch me, sir. Please don't put your hand on the small of my back.
You got them childbearing hips, is what you're telling us.
I don't know what that man wanted, but I was not assisting him with it.
Wow. Sounds like he was almost on an episode of Dateline NBC.
You bent over to tie your shoe. You did not bend over to
Holy
pick up what he was putting down.
That is correct. He can keep it.
Hey, what you selling there, Bob?
Oh, my God. That's terrific. Robert, I'd never seen you with the hair down until this morning, too.
It's a nice little mane. I
Let
got
your
a
hair
little
down.
lettuce back. Oh,
No, I'm just saying.
I don't like the way
general.
you said that. You talking to me like that man
No,
did.
I'm just talking about like stay a
easy,
while, let your hair down.
easy.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to tell you now. Oh, there you go. There's the mane.
What we got going
forgot.
on?
I'm not
here?
even on stream.
This is an
so-
audio medium.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm
right.
describing this to people.
Most time when dudes like, I'ma just go and say it. Most time like white guys with long hair, don't mess with him. Leave him alone. Rob, on the other hand, I'm like, that's
Opposite.
my dog right there, man. I know for a fact if we ever get into a bar fight, Rhett, Rob, we rolling.
Let's
We
get
rolling.
it.
Everybody in there.
Really
Will,
appreciate
pick up
you.
Darren
All right,
Bates
thanks.
on the way.
We'll call the cops.
Okay.
Can we pick up Darren Bates on the way? Because I want him.
Can't wait to pick up Darren
Because,
Bates.
man, if I'm going in a
Listen.
street fight,
Oh,
I'm
God.
bringing that dude with me.
Rhett, listen.
There's a lot of dog in that guy right there.
I'm calling him and hanging up. And by the time we get to his house, he going to be ready. You hear me?
Gonna have the window rolled down. He just flies into the car like the Duke boys.
You ain't even got to tell him what we doing.
Hey,
Smoking tires
Memphis.
going.
Memphis.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Exactly,
right
man.
there. Darren Bates, Memphis,
And by
Tennessee.
the way, we spoke about this earlier.
The
Listen,
901.
901, the country of Memphis, by the way.
That's
hey,
right.
There's going, yeah, it is the country of Memphis. It's
Not
different.
even the state anymore. It's,
It's
just the country.
of Memphis, baby.
They're independent.
By the way, shout out to my frat brother. He's running for mayor there too, man. Paul Young, man. I
nice.
hope he end up.
Hey, that's
yeah,
awesome.
really good plan. Yes, I'm hoping for him. But on the other side of that, families are in town. Who's got a fight? Will said he doesn't have a fighting family.
Okay.
Who's having a fight this weekend? I see BB's in the studio too. You got a fighting family? Slightly. Okay, all right. Because somebody going to make somebody mad. Somebody going to mess up the lasagna or dressing or turkey, and a fight's got to
I
happen.
love that lasagna's at your Thanksgiving.
Lasagna,
That's awesome.
really?
Is Garfield in your
wow.
family?
Hey,
Like, what?
Yo, I
Hey,
make
seriously.
a bomb lasagna. You hear
Listen,
me?
my aunt who passed away many years ago, one of my favorite Thanksgiving dinners was when she didn't cook turkey.
Straight up.
She made some killer lasagna.
See what I'm saying?
Awesome.
Interesting.
We actually.
But no, seriously though, I know what you're asking, and
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of dysfunction in some families. Everybody's
is.
got at least some.
Yeah.
There's a lot in others. There will be Thanksgivings that will be ruined because of some reveal, and it's
You know what I had to
a
do?
relationship has formed with another relative, or what? I mean, man, there's some bad stuff, man. It happens.
Well, you know what I had to
didn't
do?
hit in the Cowboys game or the Lions game. Okay, sorry.
No, you know what I had to do 14 years ago?
What's that?
On this Thanksgiving?
What?
We talk about conversation that you had to have.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Keisha and I already knew at the time, my wife, but I had to tell her mom on Thanksgiving that we were having a child.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
RJ?
RJ. I was just like,
And how did
I love
Keisha's
it.
mama take that news?
she was cool because her mom likes me. I love Miss Barb to this day. Shout out to Miss Barb. I got the best mother-in-law in the world,
That's
man.
awesome.
I'm sure there was a second there was like, you what? And then it's like, wait a
Right.
minute, grandbaby.
What's crazy? Her mom, I think her mom said she already knew. She was just like the tendencies
Mother's
of
intuition.
She
Mama
said,
know- I mean, listen.
yeah,
Motherly
man.
intuition is a strong thing. Don't lie to mama. Mama knows.
Dog, she said she already knew, okay? And I was just like, oh. You want to talk about what's crazy, and Keisha still gets on to me to this day about this. I told her mom, niggas, I just had, as a man, I was just like, boy, I had the most BS conversation ever, okay? I was like, I'm going to make sure it's my responsibility to take care of you. You don't have to worry about anything. I was broke as a joke, baby. We both in college, and I'm just like, what the hell am I doing? I'll say this is why I sell out for them for the to the moon and back. Ron, seriously, for the people that don't know, we are brothers.
Yep.
And Renardo, I had both of them to help support us so much, man, and they helped assist me in my lie of telling her mom, don't worry about it, because I ain't have a clue. Pampers, expensive. Baby formula, expensive.
And that's 14 years ago expensive, not today expensive, which is stupid expensive.
Like daycare, expensive. And I was just like, so speak about weird conversations.
Right.
Well,
there you go.
You ain't never had to have that one yet.
I have not.
Ooh.
But it's no doubt that your mother-in-law knew.
Yeah, she knew.
I'm telling you, the women's intuition and mom intuition, don't lie to mama. Mama knows.
I'm glad that one went well for you guys.
Well, it turned out good because I did follow through on my plan. We took care of it.
Yeah, you made it work. See, on my side of the family, they are just poor enough to have to show up to eat and then also poor enough to fight you in your grandma's house. So it's like they're going to show up because there is food.
Are you telling me that when, like, God forbid there be a power outage during the middle of Thanksgiving dinner and the last piece of turkey's in there, and when the lights come back on, you've got 5 forks in the back of your hand where somebody's grabbing that last piece of turkey?
That's how it goes. And this is the type of family it is.
That's how it goes.
This is the type of family it is. Everybody shows up and makes their to-go plate first. And that's how you know.
That's how you
it's
know.
like, look, we going to eat today
That's how we know.
and tomorrow.
And you're right, though, Bert, because in the South, it's not just Thursday. It's Friday. It's
Saturday.
a smorgasbord, man.
You're watching Ohio State, Michigan Saturday after Thanksgiving, and you've got the little Sister Schubert rolls, and you change the turkey into a sandwich.
Yeah.
That's always what we do is you take the turkey left over and you make them into
Dad and I are
sandwiches.
smoking turkey breasts tomorrow, and we're going to cook steak, and we're going to cook.
Oh, guess what I'm doing? I'm already brining one right now.
Oh, let's
I'm
hear it.
brining
That's how you do it.
You got
Yeah,
yours?
That is how you do it.
I'm
That's how we
smoking
always
it
do
first, and then I'm frying it.
Double dip on them.
Let me know what time I need to be there. Let me know what time I need to be
Let me
there.
ask you a question.
Yeah.
What kind of rub you putting on the thing when you're smoking it?
Cajun one, you hear me? And I saw somebody that was just like, I'm going to inject it with the Cajun seasoning first, okay, and then we're going to hit it with a little Cajun seasoning after the fact.
I found some rub that is orange maple.
I know you lying.
Oh, my goodness.
Right.
That sounds amazing.
Sound like you need to
And I'm
cut
going to do some
somebody.
apple pellets in the smoker.
He's so mad.
I ended up
We are
getting
kindred spirits here.
Yeah, we
Rhett walked
are.
in and said, "I'm the one who smokes the
this is-
turkey."
And then after we're done smoking, I'm gonna turn that sucker over to sear, and I'm gonna grill steaks.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's
gonna
awesome.
grill some chicken, and I'm gonna slap some of my sauce on that chicken. Have some barbecue chicken.
See?
All right, we going to Rhett's house.
All right, sounds good.
Because listen, I love my girl and everything, but I do not trust her to follow through on all the parts of this.
Oh, my goodness.
This dinner. You
Well,
know
see,
what I mean?
Ramon and Ron have some of my sauce,
Yeah,
and they've been waiting for the right
it's good
time.
stuff.
Yeah. No, I put it on some smoked pork bellies this weekend.
And
Shafe had them. Rhett, it was insane, okay? I thought I was going to have to, like, adopt Shafe. He came by.
How many times
you
did
licking
say
your
that?
eyebrows when you were done?
No, I'm telling you, man. By
I
the
love
way,
it.
if you've never been around Jonathan Schaefer eating, that dude, he can eat. He's
Oh, he
Put it-
puts
he
some
puts it
chow
back.
down.
he
Yeah, for
puts
sure.
it down,
That's
man.
I've been making that sauce for over 30 years.
Yeah, nah, it was A1. Let me tell you,
love
on
it.
those smoked pork belly cubes I had, hey, listen to me. Made them specifically for Shafe because he asked for them.
Okay.
I'll make them for y'all whenever you come.
Well, Titans are certainly hoping that they smoke.
Back to the job.
They
Okay,
smoke.
here we go. Oh, damn. Here we go.
No,
I'm
I was
messing
going
with
to be
you.
a
I'm
radio
messing with you.
professional and say the Titans are hoping they put a bingle on a smoker on Sunday
Would
and
you
they
eat
smoke
it?
Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah, I'd eat it. Oh, yeah. I'd eat a horse.
That was
I
a
would
little
eat.
too
I
quick
would eat
there,
Bengal,
Robert.
yes.
I'd eat a
I've
tiger.
I've had rattlesnake. I've had possum.
Oh,
I've
wow.
had groundhog. I've had,
So I guess the
barbecued goat. Sure.
craziest meats I've had was like in Mexico City, ironically, I had like the tentacles of like octopus. I actually had like, it was
There
so
you go.
friggin' good though.
Nice.
Like it was like a better calamari.
Yeah, that texture is unbeaten.
And then that char grilled on it too, amazing. It was so simple and good. But I've had raccoon and I've had squirrel.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The best
Some
is
of
just
it's real
having
gamey.
Throw them in a perla.
Yeah. The best is just having Gator in Knoxville in the
I've had
athletic
Gators.
dining hall the
But
week
yeah,
of the Florida game.
I'd love to have a Bengal steak
Yeah, that's right.
on Sunday afternoon.
Would you get that tooth like Ron Slay said?
Tooth of the Tiger when we went down to LSU.
I'm going to get that tooth.
That's right.
He got it too, didn't he?
Zach Taylor saying earlier this week doesn't want to set any predictions on Jamar Chase's status going into this game.
That means he's playing, so go.
Yep.
I
I
mean,
think so too.
Listen, I've thought all along, and it just says hip. I don't know if that's a hip flexor, because I think that's what Bud's been going through.
Yeah, it is. A flexor.
But those things are a week to week thing. I certainly feel like they on purpose did not put him on injured reserve so that he could play in this game.
Yep. I can believe
Even
that.
though they've got weapons galore. I mean, you teased it up back before we went to break.
Yep.
T. Higgins is on fire. I mean, and Tyler Boyd is catching stuff left and right. Trenton Irwin is a kid that they brought up last week, got his first career touchdown. I mean, he had 6 different receivers. Burrow had 6 different receivers with X plays of 20 yards or longer in the pass game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a problem.
That's unique. And they got just different ways of scoring too. Like Hayden Hurst, of course. Like Bert said earlier, man, just rise from the dead like the Undertaker. Every single weekend, it's like he does something, man. And as much as we give them crap about how bad their offensive line can be, they're effective enough to allow Joe Burrow to get those long developing plays down the field too.
And Burrow can do quick release things.
He
can get it out quick.
Yes, he can, and does. And the thing about him too is you want to be overly aggressive with Burrow, and that's where he makes those X plays at too. I saw Pittsburgh have him wrapped up. Escape, not a fast guy, and I don't think he wants to run anymore. But what he does is find those big wide receivers, T. Higgins down the field, and you're just like, golly, first down again. And they're redoing the same thing over and over again.
And that's what they got to do is get off the field on third.
Have to.
Got to.
To your point, they got way too many weapons. They do. They've stacked up good enough and got a young enough quarterback to where they've been able to go spend in free agency. And that's the same thing they've done on the defensive side of the ball, too. DJ Reader being a freaking nose tackle that's paid what he's paid, what is it, like $13.5 a year, $14 million a year?
Mm-hmm.
You don't pay that for almost like nose tackles. He's a nose tackle. You don't do that, man.
But he's a difference maker.
He is.
He is probably the anchor of that front.
What'd you say, 0 stats last week?
He really wasn't on the stat sheet, but that was his first game back after missing 6 with a knee. And, hey, look around him.
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson, 2 sacks. He leads them with 6.
See what I'm saying?
And Sam Hubbard's getting pressures and hits. I mean, when he's in, everybody eats. It's kind of like the Big Jeff effect.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Jeff is crashing the gates and getting his own thing.
Yeah.
But everybody eats when Big Jeff's in there.
Yes, indeed.
It's interesting about this Cincinnati team. You talk about the way they've constructed their roster. It feels like they're well equipped to play the Titans in this run game because in the AFC North, you've always got to bring your lunch pail in that division. You know, you've got to stop Nick Chubb and you've got to set up a defensive line that's able to slow him down. And it seems like they bet on the fact that, all right, rookie quarterback, let's be bigger and stronger than Baltimore. That way, when they try to run around us, we run through them on defense and that defensive line. But it's interesting, Rhett, looking at the rushing totals they've given up this season. We mentioned it in the last hour. Only give up 64 rushing yards to Carolina, just over 100 to Pittsburgh. They allowed over 270 rushing yards to New Orleans a month ago.
I like that. I have a pen right here. Can I co-sign for 270 for
all right,
22 Derrick Henry?
Yes, sir.
I would co-sign on that right now. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about that with Mike Keith last week after the win over the Packers, that if you get Derrick Henry 25 touches, you win the football game. That's how it has been here over the past few seasons, that when you get him 25 carries, you are in a position to be successful. And it feels like with the past 2 games, Derrick Henry being a little bit quieter, he took this loss personally last season against
I'll
Cincinnati.
go a step further. You get him those kinds of carries, you're going to get another earmark that leads to a victory. And I think that's 20 first downs as a team.
Yeah.
You get to that number, and I think you're good. Listen, he had 1 game. He had just come back from being out the previous 9 games with a broken right foot.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I saw the fire in him all off season, just working like a fool to get, he was back from the foot in Cincinnati, but against Cincinnati. But I mean, he's like, I got something to prove. Here he is, week 12, 1,010 yards rushing, leads the league, got 1,200 yards from scrimmage.
Crazy.
I mean, he's throwing touchdowns, but And again, I go back to Traylon Burks and that those tight ends starting to really work into this thing. That's going to be some good synergy right there.
Mm-hmm. By the way, you had a phrase right there I love hearing at times. It's not said enough. Working like a fool. I enjoy that. Like a fool is so cool to me.
Right.
Right? You dropped that like an old school savage that you are, man. I just got to acknowledge
old school savage.
But I mean, he did. You could just see it. You almost see the flames coming out of his fingertips, man. He just is burning. He wants this as much as anybody I see.
Yeah.
You're not going to outwork him.
Also, this is the other side too, and Will brought this up, if I'm not mistaken, first, man. It's not a revenge game, okay? Let's throw that out there. But you have
Maybe
one of
not
your
for them, but not for me.
But you have somebody under your tree that you haven't beat yet in their head coaching career. Vrabel versus Cincinnati's head coach here. You kind of think he won a little bit of that this weekend, right? He'll never tell us.
No, he'll never tell us, but I would hope that's what he wants.
Yeah. He's a competitor also.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a part of
he
the
lost
show.
one 2 years ago there. You were at that game, Will.
I'm still
with an even more of a makeshift offensive line than what they have right now. But, yeah, I mean, Mike Vrabel's going to tell you he's going to put the team and the players and give the credit and all of that in front of everything. But the guy played 14 years.
Yeah.
He's got Super Bowl rings. You don't do all that by being a
passive,
half-you-know-what competitor.
Right.
Yeah. You just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Well, it is going to be a heck of an atmosphere on Sunday in Nissan Stadium, and I think it's another Traylon Burks game. I really do.
I hope so.
Building off of his performance on Thursday night in Lambeau, I'm excited, Rhett, about just the balance of this offense. It feels like it has the makings of one of the most balanced offenses the Titans have had as far as who is getting the touches in the pass game, because 22 is always going to get his, and Derrick Henry is always going to be the cornerstone of what this team wants to be on offense. But A.J. Brown was the guy, 2020 going back to when A.J. Brown and Corey Davis were so close to both getting the 1,000-yard seasons. It's incredible how much more comfortable Robert Woods and Nick Westbrook-Akine looked as Traylon Burks stretched the defense a little bit and made things easier on them.
And again, take it a step further. I mean, Austin Hooper, Chigakonkwo.
Yeah.
It's a ripple effect in this thing.
Yeah.
But and that's why I say I was so pleased with what they did last Thursday night in Green Bay, because that came at the most opportune time, knowing that you're going to need to put some points. I mean, hey, here's the stat for you. It's the number one red zone scoring touchdown team in the NFL, and the Bengals at 75% against the number two red zone touchdown scoring team in the Titans. So you got to keep them out of that territory, and when you get to that territory, you got to make it count. And then special teams is always a big deal in any game you point to. I'm very interested to see what happens. I don't know where we are with Randy Bullock. Caleb Shudak, the rookie from Iowa, has returned to practice and is still on the PUP list. They've had a change in punter. The Bengals have. I mean, their guy, Mike Huber, he had 138 straight games as a punter there, and they went with the first-year guy, Drew Chrisman.
Yeah.
And these are big things.
Yeah.
And I know Ryan Stonehouse wants to have a better performance than he had in Green Bay, although he did have a 59-yarder when you needed it to flip field in the second half. So, I mean, that's a huge thing in this.
Is Stonehouse all-pro season so far? You'd almost either one or first or second team.
It's weird you say that, because I had a conversation with him yesterday, and I said, I want to sit down and do a lengthy interview with you, and I'm going to do it in the first part of December. And I was just talking with him about it, and I said, the reason I'm waiting a little bit, I said, because you're going to make the Pro Bowl. And he goes, oh, gosh, I hope so. That'd be great. I said, you're going to make the Pro Bowl.
Right. He's going.
You're going to make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And if he keeps, if he doesn't have any dips in performance, he could. I mean, look at his averages.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
That's major, man.
Love it.
Love that for the undrafted. Yeah.
That's right. Rhett Bryan has been our guest every Wednesday here on Scout Meeting Wednesday, and Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Rhett, happy Thanksgiving. We're thankful to always have you on the show, and enjoy the holiday.
Likewise, enjoyed. I'm looking forward to just grilling and smoking delicious items on the grill tomorrow, watching football, hanging out with my family, and then getting back to it on Friday to get prepped and ready for the Bengals on Sunday. We'll have you covered here. Countdown to kickoff at 9. We're on at 11 with Titans Countdown. Kick at noon with Mike and Mac.
Love it.
Love it, Rhett B.
When we come back, the final segment of the week, a viewing guide for the Thanksgiving football weekend, coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. One final segment on Thanksgiving Eve of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Happy Thanksgiving, wherever you're listening today. We're thankful you have been a part of the ride of this brand new show for going on 2 months.
I have, man.
2 quick months, 4 quick hours every day, 2 quick months. We're thankful for the listening audience that has made us feel welcome, made me and Kayla feel welcome, and appreciate you, Ramon Foster, for being a good teammate.
I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all know I'm a very appreciative person.
All right, look, I'm going to butt in one last time because I don't know if I get to talk again to y'all. But, all right, since we're saying what we're thankful for, I'm not from here. I'm not from here. I've never lived outside of North Carolina in my whole life. Every Thanksgiving I've ever had, I've been able to spend it like with my dad or my family or whatever. But since I got here in May, you guys have made me feel so welcome. Everybody here. And Nashville, you guys are so lucky because I've worked at so many stations where people couldn't give a rip whether they were good on the air or not. And you've got 4 great shows, and Rhett and everything everybody does here, they bust their ass. So I am ultra thankful to be on a team where everybody cares and everybody wants to do good stuff. Yep. So thank you for letting me come in and do what I do and do it alongside what you guys do. And I really appreciate it.
Man,
so I'm
Robert,
thankful for you guys.
Appreciate it, man.
I don't see how people could actually do this on a day-to-day and not care like that, Rob. That's got to be draining.
Ultra draining. Ultra draining. So when I get in a spot where I get to hang out with people who've played the game, people who are supreme entertainers, people that come in and do whatever the hell Will does. Like
I was going to say, I'm not supremely entertaining, nor have I played the game. So
you guys do an amazing job, and it is just my privilege to be able to do this with you guys every day. So,
thank you, Robert.
Thanks, man.
One time for the one time, Rob.
Somebody on YouTube said, Bert can be serious? Question mark.
We just don't tell people we love them enough. You know what I mean? We don't. As men, we don't say that enough. And
speak with your chest.
I appreciate you guys.
Also, on that same note, too, okay, real quick. As men one thing, the emotions thing, always tap into those. Talk to people. The second part, men, for all of us, go get your vitals checked, okay? The holiday season's coming up. Your family want to be around you. As somebody that does that like often too, I suggest all men to go get checked out health-wise as far as heart, cholesterol. Everybody wants their people around for a long time as we do that health service right there real quick, man. We love y'all.
Well, we are thankful for you guys who have made us feel so welcome these past couple of months, and we're thankful for what's to come for this show. For sure.
Yes, indeed.
So definitely excited for the stretch run of the Titan season, whatever the Vols finish up with. And we finish up this show with the Toyota Keys to the Game, brought to you by your Middle Tennessee Toyota dealers, as we begin with some keys for a Titans win over the Cincinnati Bengals, Ramon Foster.
My first key, man, getting after Burrow is automatic. I won't even use that one anymore, but trap him. Don't allow the extended first play, the extended first down plays. Don't allow the 3rd and long turn into a first down. Defensively, get off the field. In this game, I honestly don't worry too much about what the offense is going to do because everybody bites on what Derek does. Defensively, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 3, get off the field. That is so crucial against a guy like Joe Burrow.
I think for me, it is certainly minimizing the explosive plays on defense.
Yeah.
If you make Cincinnati continue to have to dink and dunk down the field, you will beat them.
Mm-hmm.
If Cincinnati hits passing plays of 30, 40-plus yards like they so often do, if you allow Jamar Chase to take a screen pass and then run past your entire defense like you did last year, you're going to lose this game.
Yep.
And I think it's as simple as that being the difference between a win and a loss for the Titans.
I got a key also for the Vols.
Okay.
I end up getting a separate car.
Hit me.
All right. Don't let South Carolina beat you twice.
Yep.
I think Brad Crawford said it earlier. Vandy's going to bring it. They have to.
Right.
It's not a rivalry to you, but it is to them. Don't let South Carolina beat you twice.
As Ron Slay said yesterday on the show, for Tennessee against Vanderbilt this weekend. If you want to talk about the culture getting better, you want to talk about loving each other, you want to talk about, hey, we're racing each other to the meeting rooms, and these guys pick each other up.
Yeah.
That culture manifests itself by picking up your guy Hendon Hooker on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Rallying around Joe Milton, and not only beating Vanderbilt, but looking like Tennessee and making Vanderbilt look like Vanderbilt.
Yes, sir.
Go into this game like Brad Crawford said when he said, I think there's value in Tennessee blowing Vanderbilt out in this game. There is value in Tennessee showing up again in this football game. This is a defining moment for Josh Heupel's tenure at Tennessee. Fair or unfair? Because this season can be remembered as the season where you had a big opportunity, but you still succeeded and made a New Year's Six. Or it can be remembered as a season where you had it in your hands and you lost 3 out of 4 to SEC teams and folded down the stretch.
Yeah.
And then you're closer to just being Texas A&M last year when they just had a good game against Bama instead of being a team that can start to contend. So,
yeah.
Going to be a crazy weekend. Ohio State, Michigan on Saturday. The Egg Bowl. You've got Florida, Florida State on Friday. Going to be a great time with family, with food, and with lots of football. Thank you for listening. Thank you always for those of you who have been a part of this show. We're 2 months down, and we have got a lot more fun left to have. We are back at it Monday. Thank you to Kayla Anderson, to Jonathan Schaefer for being a part of this ride, and for Ramon Foster, who gives you words of wisdom that you should be thankful for as you head into your Thanksgiving holiday.
Please remember your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.
Balderdash.